Coffee and Cream on Hail Varsity Radio with Andrew Rogers and Damon Benning.
Down to the goal line, Kachuk in front shot. He scores! He scores! He scores! Matthew Kachuk, a power play goal! It's 4-3 Panthers. The puck rolls over the Panthers line down to our right. The final seconds tick away. This one's over. The Florida Panthers are going to the Stanley Cup Final.
First pitch swinging and Fisher drives it to left. Slight going back on the run. Looking up and it's gone. Home run number 7 for Charlie Fisher. And a 3-0 Nebraska lead. The 1-1. And Swanson puts a charge in this one to left center field. Going back is Slight. Looking up at the wall. It's gone. Home run number 18 on the year for Gabe Swanson. And it's a brand new ball game. Tied at 6. The pitch. Ball 4, and it's 9-6 Nebraska. The merry-go-round continues in downtown Omaha.
First of all, what more can you say about our fans? I mean, the Husker fans that showed up in big numbers. We got a game. It's hot. It's 85 degrees out here, and middle of the day, 2 o'clock, and what a jolt of energy for our players. They were rowdy from the get-go, and I'm glad we gave them something to cheer about there in the first inning. That was obviously a huge swing right there, but they helped provide a lot of energy. But I'm proud of our guys for just staying in the fight, really, because that game was pretty topsy-turvy, ups and downs there from both sides of it. And we had some guys that have been really good for us that weren't great today, but we had some guys pick them up as well. And that's what you got to have to win a tournament like that. You got to have some guys step up.
Hey, good morning. Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency. Damon Benning, Andrew Rogers. That was Coach Bolt speaking after the opening round win in the Big Ten tournament over at the Chuck. Kevin Kugler on the call. And
he's so good.
The Florida Panthers are sweeping their way into the Stanley Cup Finals. A nice day for sports yesterday, especially if you are a Florida fan, because you are not only in the Stanley Cup Finals, but now you're one step away from being in the NBA Finals too. So if you like your teams down in the Miami area, you're pretty solid.
Hey, go sit your little narrow behind down somewhere. It's too early for you to be up to your shenanigans. Should have done that before we got here. Good morning, Shane.
Good morning.
He's something else, man. He really is.
I like how he raised his voice to say good morning. He never talks loud.
Sometimes he gets mad.
He made sure people could hear him this
No,
time.
it is a good day to be a Floridian, right? That was did you think that was a goal? I thought Brenda Moore was gonna what was Shane, what was the superhero or the lady with powers that got the gray hair like over
Jean Grey?
Yes, good work.
But also,
I thought Brenda Moore
she got the gray hair. You thought he was about to jump on the ice?
I thought he was going to be so mad he was going to get another gray patch instantly. Like, Shane, that is a great call.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, come on, Shane.
I don't know if it could have been reversed. I would have said
I get it. And there was a lot of that yesterday, right? Are you over instant replay or are you all in still?
I like instant replay. I'm cool with it. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm okay.
Because of how quick, too, that
baseball was
reviewed.
not quick.
No. Not at all.
But I've said this since we've been doing the show together, because I have a bona fide hockey guy, and one of my old partners did like hockey, but we didn't get like as in depth as like we do.
Mm-hmm.
Hockey does replay the best of in my opinion, of all the major sports. I think hockey is the best. Baseball is getting better at the major league level. It's not taking
still pretty
years,
slow.
But I'm mad at baseball still because of the shenanigans. And we saw it in all its glory yesterday with Kruk's meltdown. And they had to get him off a major network because Kruk doesn't ride for the logo. He rides for the players. And sometimes those two things are different.
They are sometimes.
So Krucky's not holding his tongue. But the D-backs in Phillies was hilarious. And Bond's comments after, I don't know if you saw Alec, listen to Alec after with, because he obviously had the walk-off, but the rules are a little dicey now. And it's hard to understand. And without dudes mic'd up, like, what are we talking about? I thought Lovullo was going to lose his mind. Then the Phillies about snapped. The NBA is okay. But guys like Van Gundy still light officials up during broadcast, which he must just have free reign, right? Because he's not about the logo either. Van Gundy, Jeff, not Stan.
Yep.
Stan goes along to get along because he's yucking it up with Reginald all the time. But these guys are wild, man. Because I know sometimes, and I don't know, like I haven't been around the radio, the Husker Radio Network long enough, and I'm sure I'll get some, rules. But Greg is not afraid to like get after officials a little bit with like spotting and stuff like that. So I think we're cool to talk about officiating.
To go into that territory.
But like BT, like there's some networks I've worked for where it's like, let's stay away from that. Like if I'm doing a state broadcast, let's kind of stay away from that. But these guys just go all in.
Hey, they're a member of the game too. You can be critical of them. You can be critical of how a manager coaches, right? Or how a pitcher is commanding his fastball. So why not be critical on the guys wearing black?
All right, now
this is wrong, people.
It's wrong. Hey, now I know you're in the tree of trust, right? I would consider you darn near family at this point. But feel free to get kicked out with the wrong answer here. What is Will Bolt by name in college baseball? What do you call Will Bolt?
Coach
Thank
Bolt.
you. He's a coach. What's Torey Lovullo?
Torey.
What do we call him?
Coach?
He's not a coach. He's a manager.
I didn't know where you wanted me to go with this.
I just wanted you to answer the questions so I can see if we can still be kidding. Major league guys are managers.
They are managers.
College guys are coaches.
But see, that's why I said Torey. Because I call managers by their first name.
What were you going to call him? Skip?
Well, I know. Well, unless you're Schumacher down in Miami.
Wow.
No,
Major League Baseball.
You address managers by their first name, don't you?
I don't believe Schumacher's doing interviews.
Why? Because they don't win enough, or?
Wow. Yes. Coach.
Don't you call them by their first name though when you address a manager?
Like
how would you say Dave Roberts? Dave Roberts.
Yep.
Yeah, you wouldn't say manager Roberts.
That's true.
But if we were going title wise, I'm with you, manager.
Yeah, that's probably a better point. All right, you're back. Well, I didn't.
I was 1 foot out the door, and then you're like, nah, you can stay.
I wasn't going to put baby in the corner.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
Yes. But so I just thought yesterday was a lot of rewatching and watching, and Nebraska actually caught a break. I felt like because the last replay with the double play could have very easily been safe. So whatever was called on the field, I thought was going to hold, because I never got the angle of, I see when they freeze frame it, when his foot's over the bag. I want to know when his foot's on the bag. When I see the shoe actually wrinkle above the laces, the part where kids don't want to get creased when they get new shoes. So they walk with their legs like idiots. And it's like, why don't you just walk like a normal person?
You're going to walk like that forever.
Yeah.
Save your shoes.
And then they wonder when they go out to the practice field and you say high knees. And man, my groin hurts. Yeah, you don't bend your knees in the daytime. Okay? You don't get to 90 ever. You're a schlepper. Stop schlepping around. I don't even know what that means, but schlepp's a word I used to use.
I'll ride with it.
Right. So until I saw that part,
I didn't think it was going to be a double play to begin with.
Dude,
I thought going to second was the wrong move.
Me?
Real time.
Oh, swear to goodness, me too. I was like,
high chopper to third, and I'm like, you're going to risk
balance right foot,
sidearm throw.
The pick at second, which was at the laces over the bag,
Then I thought it was going to be an overthrow to first.
Dude, the garden hose, though, to first. That was a pea rocket. I was like, ugh.
Yeah, that.
I watched that
your
thing.
Breath.
Listen, I watched that thing probably 6 times. And I'm like, the start of this turn will not get enough run. It was the consummate no, yes.
It's like, no, go to first. Okay. First. Double play. Yeah.
Right.
I knew it from the start.
Dude.
I knew it. I knew we were going to turn it.
Was Rutgers going to lose their mind?
I thought, whoa.
When?
Multiple times.
That's why I said when.
I just wanted to be there for the presser, which was chill. Like, you could tell he was steaming Willie Beeman.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, listen, when you can't throw the ball over the plate.
And you got bailed out by Swanson on his 365-day at bat when he comes back through the lineup.
Yeah.
And he swings at a ball with the bases loaded.
Yep.
Could have easily extended the inning.
Kept that thing going. Yeah, it was a wild day yesterday. Because I don't know if we got back from our parents' meeting last night, which.
Did you watch any of the SEC?
That's what I was just getting ready to say. And the only reason it had my attention is because you referenced them as crazy or unpredictable or something when you're talking about Alabama.
Yes, I said. How did I put it? I was like,
did you say unpredictable? Or you said something like
something
that.
along the lines of like, are we able to really know who Alabama is right now?
And so, they tricked the lead off late. Then it's 3-3. Then they have the circus and extras in the 11th. And Florida was like, yeah, not to be outdone.
Like, can you imagine?
Dude, what a circus.
A 3-run bomb to walk it off. Like, not to say 3-run bombs weren't a thing yesterday because we saw 2 of them in the Nebraska game. But in the 11th inning, was there 1 out?
Yeah.
1 out. And he smoked it.
Oh, yeah.
He smoked it.
Dude, some of these parks they play in the SEC, man, I don't know.
Weak sauce?
Kinda. I mean, it ain't like playing at the Schwab. How about the first ball that Matthews
like
hit?
A Major League Baseball ballpark.
Did you not think that? So his out was arguably his best at bat. That was a flipping bomb. I think I saw, was it Ben McLaughlin? Somebody said the exit velo was like 109. And the ball only went like 384 feet. I say only.
Yeah.
What are you laughing at? You don't even know what that means. You haven't seen 384 anything except milli-inches. Is there such a thing as milli-inches?
Hey, yeah.
How many feet is 384 milli-inches?
You ready?
I don't know, because
it's
okay.
It's all right.
Yeah.
I'm in a good mood today. I was going to throw a mom joke in there, like I seen your mom 384 times or something like that. But
you held back.
But I held back.
I'm telling, and she's not in a good spot either. So you're in big trouble.
Well, I mean that's not good.
Yeah. Well, you're not.
384 millimeters
is what?
Is 1 foot 3 inches.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's about.
I don't know.
Shane.
Maybe there's not milli-inches.
I know. I'm about a foot.
If they are milli-inches, they're smaller than millimeters, right? Right, Shane?
Oh shoot! So how about this? So in Nebraska, kind of kept their bully intact, right? Because KP, I mean, you can come back and use KP and Walsh.
Oh yeah,
because they only threw 29 pitches combined,
and you need to use Walsh today. You need to use him.
Dude,
he looked good yesterday. Very comfortable on the mound.
So I saw a stat, or I heard a stat. How many times do you think Nebraska's been hit by a pitch?
This season?
Correct.
That they've done it or have been hit?
Have been hit.
On the receiving end. I'm going to guess.
Here's a hint. Loof balloons.
I don't know that hint.
99.
Correct.
What is that hit?
Loof balloons go by.
Yeah, don't know the song.
No,
nope, I got nothing there. Loof balloons. Loofah? You mean in the shower?
What's her name, Shane? Do you know off the top of your head? Cam would know. Where's Cam when I need him?
He'll be in later, but I don't know.
Nina?
Yes.
Yeah, Nina.
99
Looped
looped balloons.
Yeah.
That's a lot of times getting kerplunked.
99. How many times have they hit batters? Was that on there too?
That seems like 2,221 because especially if it's Sherman. And I'm not listening.
Especially if it's Sherman. You're not wrong.
Dude, it seems like he hits a batter a game.
Mm-hmm.
But that slider is so slippery. Like, it's almost like if he doesn't start that thing at like that front shoulder, it is not going to be a strike.
And you know what? I've always been on team don't throw it if you can't throw it for a strike.
Dude, but he gets a lot of swing and misses, though.
He does.
So it's kind of weird. But yesterday, again, in your honor, because you get so mad at it, are there any worse frame jobs than in college baseball? And the umps fall for it.
Every time.
It is so bad.
A ball so far off the plate, and they bring it back, and it's just like, yep, it was there on the corner the whole time.
Yeah, no.
Dude, it's in the batter's box.
I'm like, stop falling for the banana in the tailpipe. Now what do you want? You're clearing your throat over there.
Now, let me clear my throat.
If you don't love it, leave it. USA, number 1.
That was Stanley, right? It was one of those.
Let me play a drop.
Hey, were you? Dude, that gives me chills. Our coach was talking to our parents last night.
Don't flip on him, brother. You know, I still got the one-hitter quitter.
I think he was ready to play.
Kamaji?
And he promised them that it was only going to be an hour, so he just took the whole thing over. And it was way good. 7:34. And he's like, all right, got the dates. We'll see you. Yeah. Hour, 4 minutes. He had those parents out of there.
I'm for that.
Me too.
Get them in, get them out, set the expectation, know what they're getting into. Here's how it works. See you later.
And we've moved into this world of QR codes. We're so
for scheduling?
We're so bougie.
I'm all for QR codes.
And a team app.
We're doing QR codes for like save the dates or wedding invites or something.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, at least this is what my dad told me. He had to send
WWBD.
He and my mom had to send like stamps with RSVPs so that they could send it back with the stamp. And I'm like, that's like, I mean, if you have 200 people at your wedding, it's a lot of money on stamps. You're probably
what are stamps these days? 50 cents, 48 cents, 44 cents?
If it is, just say that and you get 20. So that would be what, $100 for 200 people.
I'm gonna do something real bad to you over there.
So what does this clip make you want to do?
Lay you out.
Because all I want to do is like go spray paint something.
You could tell this is you could totally tell this is Shane's Friday.
Hold on. Let me give Shane the beer bottles.
Hey, so you know how I know
you left your mug here, by the way.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Couldn't tell.
Yeah. I'm just giving you a heads up.
Shane Ping.
As you.
He touched it. He touched it.
Okay, so
Shane, you left your dignity at home.
You could kind of tell.
He
can kind of tell he's vibing right now. So Shane, you're on a roll, and I know how you can get.
And Shane, I'll tell you what. Normally,
I'm gonna leave you alone.
Shane, normally it's pick on DB, but now since you're picking on me,
I'm gonna give you scoreboard because you're kind of vibing today.
You know what? You know what it is.
Last week, I'm the club champion.
What?
El Champion. My ball striking is off the hook right now.
Michael Block?
Again, nothing.
I don't know.
Hey, now wait a minute.
Look, man, brother can't even get his bread, man, when people come asking me what's going on.
Hey, Shane, do you want to just even out our breakfast? Like, just call it
great.
Call it even?
I'm the only guy feeding you too. That's awesome.
Or,
hey, Shane,
you want me to buy you breakfast and you buy me breakfast?
I know I've been picking on you, but let's be brothers now and let's get DB.
It's cute. You ain't doing nothing up in there. You better come and take it. You better be.
You guys like
my hidden agenda.
And start over me.
Hey, have you seen? Speaking of hidden agendas, have you seen what's going on the Coyotes Twitter page?
The hockey team.
The hockey team.
Well, when you play in your basement, you're probably pretty upset.
It's Coyote Ugly,
yeah,
right? And if you've ever been to Coyote Ugly, this is kind of what it's like because whoever is the admin is going rogue right now. Let me just read you a few things here of what I've seen on their Twitter page over the last few days.
Let me ask you something real quick. Would you rather be the A's and their fan base and that franchise going to Vegas right now with how they feel, or what's going on?
I'd rather be the A's because I know I have a home. I know I'm going somewhere. And you know what? We can find fans in Vegas. They found the Knights. Like, Vegas is a good baseball area.
Oh.
And so they'll be able to find some people there. If you're the Coyotes, you're like, we're kind of a joke. And we became a joke when we decided to play hockey at a college. So the admin put this out. 20,000 likes to reveal new arena plans after the place in Tempe got shut down.
Yep. No go.
Okay. So it got like 38,000 likes. So they had to reveal something. So they revealed it. You click on a link, you hit play on the video. Can you guess? Like, just take a random guess. And if you pull this out, you don't have to buy breakfast for Shane or
of what the reveal
of
is?
what the reveal was.
Hey, now.
Is he speaking for you?
Yeah, speak for yourself.
Speak for yourself, Drew Down.
Hey, Shane, quiet down.
I feel like I'm watching tennis.
Except the ball stopped over there, so you can clap when it turns back to me. Wow.
Do you smell what the Rock is cooking?
All right, what was on their page? What did they release? If you get relatively close to it, because this is a pretty
I don't know.
Vague
I don't know.
choice. It was 10 hours of Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley.
Wow.
That's what they released on their new arena plans.
That's that song, Never Gonna Give You Up.
Never Gonna Let You Down. 10 hours, repeat.
Is somebody trying to get
Rick
fired,
Astley.
or are we just running with this?
So then I saw that there were polls on, like, where to keep the team, where every answer was Arizona. I saw asking Elon Musk how to use the platform. I saw a lot of different things. And then I also saw Greg Wyshynski tweet out relocation odds that are out there. And so I'm like, I wonder if DB and I, or if DB, because I saw the odds. Have you seen the odds?
I have not seen the odds.
Who would you think has the best chance at getting an NHL team? Like, who do you think is the top choice for relocation odds right now?
Man, would they go back to Nashville?
So they have the Preds. So they wouldn't have two teams in Nashville. Because I thought Nashville too, but then I'm like, no, because of the Preds.
All right. Let me think.
All of these are teams. One of them had a team before. The rest did not.
You're certainly not going north of the border. Right?
There is one that is north.
Quebec?
Mm-hmm. That was the only one up north. That's plus 12,000, 7.7.
Why they might as well
chance.
bring back the Whalers while they're at it if you're
Right.
going Nordiques.
Mm-hmm. So every other one outside of it being the field.
How about
bring back the Barons? Cleveland Barons.
I'm going to punch you right in your soup coolers.
Why not?
Man. Hey, how about ESPN's release laying out exactly what I was talking about? With the rematch, the rubber match, and basically signing up for 3 fights.
Oh, for Bud and what's his name?
Did you see the dollar figure they arrived at?
No.
8 digits.
Oh, I did see. I saw that it was 8 digits. I didn't know the number. Is there a number?
It was not 8 digits 72 hours ago. You won 3 fights, potentially? Pay the man.
8 digits for all 3?
For just the first. Yeah.
Okay.
Game changer.
I'll fight.
Game changer.
All right, when we come back, we'll get to the odds. We're talking to Mitch Sherman at 8 o'clock.
Wait, let's see. Give me another city.
No, we're going to wait. We're going to wait.
It.
Brian Edwards at 8:45, Bruntz at 9, and Sautter at 9:45. We'll be back.
Your partner.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 5 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
3-1. On the ground, high chopper, third baseman carries, got it to second for Wong. The return throw to first, he got him! A double play, and the inning is over.
Still can't believe it.
Even though he's not nice to me, a low-key man crush on Kugler.
He's not nice to you?
Yeah, he kinda. I mean, he's an equal opportunity snarkus. But I was kind of like guys that I like. There's really only probably one that I would say is nice to me. Like my buddy Kevin is what I call nice, like good natured, would do anything. You know, Verzal, Not very nice to me.
But would do anything.
Kugler, not very nice to me. Severe, not very nice to me. It's like I think maybe I'm kind
Andrew sometimes.
Yeah, occasionally. Like, but I have to ask, right? But not going out of your way to be nice. Like, kind
I'd go out of my way to be nice for you.
Not naturally.
I gave Zoe some Gatorade one time.
Again, who? Wasn't DB?
Yeah, that's right. You're right. Yeah,
Hey,
you're right.
You not listen to the show?
Yeah.
Hey, can I have 5 minutes with you? Hey, man, relax. It's all good in the neighborhood. By the way, were you shocked? Now you're there, so it's different. Were you surprised they went to replay on Matthews' alleged hit by pitch? My man K. Kuz asked me on Twitter. I was not surprised, even though it was because he's like, "Look, man, 2-0 count. It's a favorable count." And I was like, "Yeah, you don't want to take anything for granted in a game like that." Plus, Matthews doesn't say a whole lot, so he kind of lets you know that it hit him.
Right. So the reason I is because in any instance, right, the batter is always taking first base, no matter what the lead is.
Yeah, but he kind of was like, man, that hit me.
Right. 10, up 3, tie game, you're taking the base. If you can get on base, you're taking the base. So it wasn't surprising, or I guess it was surprising
that he used the challenge.
Yeah.
That's all right. There's a lot of challenges going on early.
Yeah.
Somebody told
me. Is that
me
how it felt when you were watching on TV?
Yeah, but I was highly entertained.
But you also got every replay angle.
Are you not entertained? You know, you watching games with people that are trying to beat the replay official, just competitive for no reason. How did you get the sense that he's pretty competitive?
Who
would I be talking about? Who was watching the game?
Oh, yeah.
Extremely competitive.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't know if we were talking about somebody at the field or watching on TV at home.
So where was Sasha? Did she say she was in the grass?
When she got to Schwab?
What was the grass text?
That was Shane when she was listening back, like picking up grass. She was listening back to 2 for You yesterday.
Oh.
Yeah, because we were talking.
Dude, she was on delay.
But
I was in the middle of a decent conversation, in my defense.
But you missed it because when we were at the Chuck, I had brought up, I said, hey, you got to listen to 2 for You today because Shane and Cam played, and Shane didn't know how to write Ola. Like, he wrote Spanish.
Dude said Spanish.
He wrote Spanish on his sheet of paper. And she goes, all right, I have to listen on the way home. She has to drive to Elkhorn.
Yeah.
So she knew she was hitting rush hour traffic plenty of time. And when she texted grass, that was in reference to picking up something in your lawn.
There's no bird. She's not at Haymarket.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, we were upstairs.
And she put it in caps.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, good on Jared too. I'm going to tell him it's his boy's fault. We didn't get there.
I gave him a very nice bro hug.
He's amazing.
We got there.
And he got us Bolt yesterday or day before.
Yeah, and he even said the same thing. He goes, "Oh, you had Bolt on Tuesday. Like, how was he?" I'm like, "Fantastic as always." He's like, "All right, good."
Yeah, Coach Bolt thinks we really like baseball, so we got him fooled.
We really like every sport, right? We have everyone fooled.
Yeah.
In fact, we're more foodies.
I do like baseball quite a bit. I was very mad at the Braves last night though, because I wanted the brooms. But I almost didn't pay attention. That was kind of secondary, maybe tertiary on my flip back and watch list, if you can believe that.
Yeah.
Dodgers Braves, yeah.
Was that because of how far Matt Olson hit his home run?
Okay.
What did that go? Like 458?
Well,
100?
What are we doing? Did that like?
Sorry, I just had to come full circle with our opening statement.
I just want to make sure you heard what I said. Me watching that game was tertiary in order, meaning I could kind of get back to that at any point. And you want to talk about? Is that funny? Oh man,
there's no failure in sports.
Yeah, that was a failure.
Come on, Alec.
4-3 final. But anyway, so I think I'm okay with it. Got the Braves to 30. Plus, I need the Braves
You seem very hurt.
There he goes.
I'm telling you, man. You're gonna call me a bully here in a minute.
Nope.
Oh, I'm so happy! I'm so happy! This is the best day of my life!
So,
Are you sure you want to keep doing the show today?
Well, it's a lot going on.
Man, can you tell me how the Dodgers had 12 hits though and didn't win that game?
You thought I was tough? This chump will kill you.
The Braves had 5 hits.
Dude, the Huskers had 7.
Yeah.
You had 7 hits. You left 11 guys on base.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How does that happen? I mean, you know how that happens? You're drawing a lot of BBs.
Hey, it could be worse. You could have Steven Matz pitching, who doesn't have a win yet this year.
Hey, yeah, he's 0 for, right? Was he 0-6 now?
0-6. His ERA, 5.72.
That's not good, is it?
5.72.
Yes, sir.
That's a college kid's ERA.
I mean, it was gold. It was absolute gold.
You know what I mean?
Those guys were jacked up to get back in the building.
You mad?
I
you in a good mood or what?
How do they settle in on Matt?
You know what's funny?
But not Libertor.
We're talking about Mad, and he's using McGuire cuts.
Yeah, I know.
Just to freaking grab some hot fries and.
There. All right, can we go? Hey, let's go back to this before we lose interest on this Coyotes relocation odds. Or at least
doing
before
hey, my man D-Rock said you better start calling them the Coyotes. Coyotes.
No.
Coyote. No.
I mean, they're not South Dakota. Go Yotes! All right.
You don't want it to be the Barons?
The Cleveland Barons?
Yeah.
Go pick up your grass. You act like you've been smoking it. Anyway.
All right. Five other cities.
All right, guys.
Don't have a
See
team.
that?
One used to have a team. Relocation odds.
So I got Quebec.
Mm-hmm.
I know they don't say Quebec. They say Quebec.
Quebec.
Hartford's out, so no Whalers. Minnesota's not back in play. Oh, would they go back to the ATL?
So that is on the list. Plus 550, 15.4% chance
to bring the Thrashers back,
which would be awesome.
That's tough on everybody.
I loved the Thrashers logo. Loved it.
Okay, that's cool, but the folks in Atlanta are. Wow, I seriously almost got us kicked off for good. There was a closet reference.
I'm with you.
But it's more like, okay. Anyway, so.
They're Braves fans. That's what you were going to say. They like baseball.
Operation Life Preserver. I like my partner. I was going to say they're too busy sitting in traffic.
Yeah. And speaking of life preservers, those Lifesaver gummies are fire.
Yeah, I'm out. Even though I'm team gummy. I'm with. Even though.
You're mad.
Even though you're team gummy, he just cracked his knuckles. His hand's going through that window.
Okay.
I do have the extra cup for a reason. I'll just toss it.
So look,
man, I feel great, man. I know I'm going to Disneyland.
So
okay,
let's
can we
go.
put this in an A?
So we got
instead of a
Quebec,
B?
Quebec, Atlanta. Oh, it's the legend. What's up, buddy?
We are.
They got a pickle.
He goes, you're on? As if this is what happens.
It's a total free-for-all.
It is.
No idea what's going on.
The boss just walked
get
in.
that guy out of here, the little dude. The dude that's a quarter of your size. Get him out of here. So let's go Quebec. I'm seriously turning my back to this.
Yeah.
Cleveland.
Who said that?
Is that two? That's 2 of the 5.
Yes, you got 2. You got 3 more.
You're gonna have to tell me because we're up against it.
It took you 9.5 minutes to get 2 teams.
No, we didn't start here, Shane.
Can't
We
stand
didn't start.
this.
Milwaukee is on the list.
Oh, dude, would they like hockey up there?
Plus 850.
Okay.
Toronto. Plus 475. So 2 teams in Toronto. Not seeing it. Kansas City is on the list.
That'd be fantastic.
Yep,
They don't
they
support
have that.
They don't support the Royals, so are they doing hockey?
What's their junior team? They have
The
some
Blades?
type of like
Yeah, you know all about that movie.
small team, like USHL. I'm not sure. And then Houston is the favorite.
Ooh, H-Town.
We'll be back.
They like traffic.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
He stepped out for a moment because had a little something drop out. Yeah, the end dropped out of his helmet.
Is that a bad omen?
It feels like it's a bad sign. Could be the end of the world.
But
they were going back and forth.
Oh man,
my man Cougs like actually turned his back to Bruntz, or not. I almost said Dana Brinson, Dana Hughes, and so our guy. I got to stop referencing this, but in the watch on closed caption, instead of Damon, it kept saying Damon. So of course our guy had jokes.
Yep. Not shocked. Not shocked.
I was like, why do they keep saying Damon on closed caption? But Yeah, I'm starting to really
The end of the world.
The last 3 or 4 years, I've started to pay a lot more attention to the broadcast than I ever have.
Mm-hmm.
And it started about 7, 8 years ago when Severe kept complaining about Phil Simms.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, he does do a lot of Steelers losses to the Patriots. Like, I am kind of mad at that guy, right? But I kind of started to get into it. And then once Romo hit the scene, because Phil was mad, then I obviously paid attention to Romo. Now I always pay attention. Cooler's easy because he's a given. Like, sometimes I'll just use his broadcast, especially if he's on radio with Alexa so close to
on Westwood One,
our big TV.
Is that what he's on, Westwood One?
Yeah.
Okay.
But he's doing TV for BTN,
right.
So you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But they have a good rapport. My first BTN broadcast ever was with Dana Hughes. It was Northern Iowa football, right? So I'm in Iowa City. Like, that is his stomping grounds. So I'm brand new. I don't really know how this works. So we got to go to the truck.
So are you sideline color?
I am sidelines for
Okay.
that one. Okay, so we got to go to the truck, which is outside of the parking lot where you...
Yeah, the production truck.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Which is like the tiniest thing ever, right?
All new to me, right? This is like 2012. Because even with then NET, when I was doing state broadcasts, I almost would never go to the truck because it's just stadium's right there. So
are you guys going?
It's literally where the truck parks to the entrance of the field. Not even 100 yards. Not even. It's probably 60 yards. I'm walking with him, trying to glean some insight. It took,
because everyone was stopping him,
30 minutes.
Because everyone was stopping him?
Everyone. Dana!
Man of the people.
Everybody.
And that's his personality.
And so he stopped and talked for
3-5
minutes. Next person comes up, 3-5 minutes.
And I'll never forget this. Do you know why I couldn't go ahead?
Because you didn't really know where you were going.
1,000%.
You could have walked right past that truck.
So I'm in the deal.
So now you're just standing there probably a little awkward because maybe they know you, maybe they don't.
Yeah,
you're in enemy territory.
That's just not my jam.
Yeah,
right?
your personality isn't, hey, let me interact with you.
So
for 5 minutes.
it was like, is it always like this? So it's like, wowzer. But I mean, it's progressively gotten better.
And they're good on the call together.
Dude, he's hilarious.
Good personalities. Just really good personalities.
So I don't
He's
mind.
hilarious.
So I don't mind watching baseball on TV. Normally, I'd rather watch it live. But you get good TV.
When you attach to a broadcaster, I would watch it on TV more often than I would watch it live.
Yeah, because you couldn't really get replays.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we could see them.
Did you have to bust your hump from like what time did you roll in?
4th inning. And so I had to park at Morrison because I didn't have my media badge yet, so I couldn't park in the C lot. And so I parked by Morrison, walked to Will Call, got my badge.
So from there, that's as far a drive as you can get and still be in Omaha. You couldn't go any further.
Right.
So that's a full 55 minutes?
Yeah. That was about right on the nose, 55 minutes. And so I mean, just on the freeway, just going freeway, highway. What am I in LA?
You're a better man than me too, because I would have had to freshen up.
Yeah, I just went straight there.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool.
And it's because I knew. Well, I didn't know this.
You were gonna.
I figured we weren't getting media badges because when we were late to the party, we asked Jared. He hooked us up. I thought it was just a ticket.
Is he not fantastic?
He is. And I thought it was just a ticket, though. Like, hey, media badges don't get printed until tomorrow, whatever. Here's a ticket. Here, get you in, find your seat, enjoy the game. That's all I thought we were getting because I didn't expect special treatment by asking so late. But when I found out I got a media badge, I'm like, oh, I can just go chill in the AC, maybe find a spot at the media table. It wasn't packed up there, fortunately, because we don't have a seat, which we just have the badge. We can walk really around, but we don't have a seat to sit down. So I was watching most of the game with Sasha. We could hear the fans react, but we were 7 seconds on delay on TV.
Really had to bust her hump because we're in there moving weight benches. The whole
shebang.
She's moving chairs.
We're holding down the fort outside.
She's like, hey, DB, I grabbed your backpack. It's a little sweat. I'm like, look, you're working. It's sweaty. I don't care. Right? Like, I'm just chilling.
Meanwhile, you're like this, walking out like.
Well, there's just.
I'm just kidding.
There's something not very chivalrous. Is that a word? Let's just make that one up.
We'll count it.
When you have her doing all the legwork, and I'm the dude with old school misogynistic thoughts, like, oh, I should be doing that.
Respect and
but he's like lugging weights. Cheers.
Did you guys
That's a great question.
bench at all? Like do any
Chaos?
lifting? Was there any challenges? I'm trying to be discreet.
Well, he was hurt. He doesn't feel good.
That's right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
that's right.
So anyway, like when you got there that fast, and there's obviously no lines because the original plan was going to be to just
all meet up.
Yeah, and if it got to be late after, then it was just going to be like, hey, stop over at Addie's or something. But then the 30 minutes goes by,
then an hour goes by.
It's like hit the television. But so you do miss the replays. Are they showing them in?
They are. So there a bunch of TVs had the BTN broadcast on 7-8 seconds on delay. So we saw 2 pitches ahead of what you were seeing on TV.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
How many pitches were thrown in between the review and when he stepped back into the box? Because obviously, when you give up a shot like that, you're like, man, that review turned out to be pretty large. Because at the time, you think it's kind of innocuous. There's 2 outs,
right?
It's a play at first. I'm talking about in the first inning.
Yeah, so I wasn't there yet.
Okay,
I didn't get there till the 4th.
That's right.
So I don't know for sure, but I was listening to it on the radio. Not that helps. Or I was listening to
I just wondered how many pitches were actually
Apple
thrown.
CarPlay. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because didn't look like he was ready to go after but it is probably hard to kind of get your composure too after that, right?
Yeah. That would at least be the thing for me is I would think that's the hardest thing to do is regather yourself in that moment.
How about how Coppola got his is it Coppola? Coppola?
Francis?
Stop. Aka?
Nicholas?
How about how he settled down, though? Because he got through 6.
Yes, he did.
You're like, there's no way.
Well, what's funny is like you give up that shot, but really that's it, right?
He was laboring.
Right.
It was, Nebraska was seeing a ton of pitches because he ended up throwing 101 pitches.
Great point. We talked to Bolt on, was it Tuesday? And I excuse me, I had asked him about that exact thing because, he's been every post game, at least back end of the season. We got to see more pitches. We got to take better at bats. We can't just be swinging to swing. Everybody's trying to hit it over the fence. Those type of things. Now you're starting to see a more patient approach at the plate by all 9. And they're working the pitcher's count up, which is why you get that laboring pitcher. Even though he did make it and get by, you're forcing Rutgers to now rely on their pen. Before, you're allowing the starters to go deeper and deeper into ball games. So
at what point did you start to feel bad for Grady Smith or the home plate umpire? Could you see those frame jobs?
Yeah, kind of.
Did you know why Rutgers was upset?
Yes.
Because those weren't strikes.
Yes. I don't know if I ever feel bad for an umpire.
Huh.
Like you do it to yourself.
You do not call timeout.
If I ever felt bad for an umpire, it would be more on the bang play at first. Say that double play, for example, late in the 8th inning. If that call ended up being safe, I'm like, man, you kind of take like the human element out of it. Like this ump got showed up by a video and it was so
They
close.
got to be secure though, because I'm with you. That's what I was thinking about when baseball started going to replay.
Right. And so that's
but I would look at it as
probably
a
the
safety
only moment.
blanket.
For sure.
Like we asked Hickey
Jim
about
Joyce. Jim Joyce, safety blanket. He wants that one back.
Wow.
A Corvette doesn't solve everything, Jim Joyce.
Not to go all Don Denkinger this morning. By the way, Matt is sharing with you. Remember I told you super snarky Cardinals fan? He said Steven Matz hasn't missed a barrel since opening day.
Yeah. He's on point. Excellent point. We're talking to Mitch Sherman next.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
The pitch. Ball 4, and it's 9-6 Nebraska. The merry-go-round continues in downtown Omaha.
Hey, welcome back. Our guy Jay on YouTube says, I'm here for Sugar Shane to break the drops in one show record. Only 230 more drops to go. Keep them rolling, Shano.
Shane is crazy.
Let's not.
As Michigan Lance would say.
But hey, I appreciate your enthusiasm.
Nah.
Just don't hype Shane up too much because there it is.
You can beat it.
Let's bring in Mitch Sherman, now our first guest of the day via StreamYard. Mitch, good morning. Mitch, the Nebraska and college football reporter for The Athletic, at Mitch Sherman on Twitter. What's up, Mitch?
And baseball enthusiast.
Yeah, I might be a baseball writer this week. We'll see. If Nebraska gets its groove on tonight against Maryland, it's going to get interesting down there.
Something or nothing that they got over the hump, as ugly as that was, going forward.
Yeah. I think it was, well, I mean, it's all or nothing now. So if you lose that game, I was down there for a few innings yesterday and I left, and right when Maryland put up 3, I think it was the 5th, and then driving home, heard that 7th inning. And I just kind of thought, okay, well, this is just not meant to be. I didn't expect that Nebraska was going to come back from that tough environment. I said Maryland, Rutgers. I figure, look, they've got some pitching to get through this game, and much like Nebraska, Rutgers was going to throw its best arms out there in that first game because it's so important to win. It's important to win both of the first 2. You end up in the same place if you go 1-1, but you can't win. You can't go 2-0 if you don't go 1-0. And like Nebraska with Emmett Olson and Sherman, they're going to throw their best guys, and it looked pretty tough at that point for Nebraska to come back, but to score 6, I think it was definitely something. It showed a lot of resiliency. And Nebraska, outside of league play this year, it didn't really show those kind of moments. But they're back in the Big Ten, so maybe there's something magical about playing against that competition, and we'll see. We're going to get a really good idea down there tonight.
So, speaking of something or nothing, this has obviously got to be something. I think from a fan base perspective, we just maybe have to get used to. It doesn't appear to ever be real smooth or easy for Shea Shannon. It's just, because he's effective, but there are just these times where you're like, gosh, it just seems like he doesn't have it. But he's such a grinder. Do we just need to get over sometimes it's not always going to be aesthetically pleasing?
I think that's just kind of the case in college baseball. Now if you're one of the top teams in the country and you come out in June in Omaha and you've got arms that are, first rounders, guys just on a track to the big leagues, then it's going to look different. But for the most part, these college pitchers, it's going to be an adventure. There's going to be days where it looks great. And he's experienced, been a starter, been a reliever in various roles, and now a closer, who has the ability to go 3 innings or so for Nebraska. You live with the end result is what is important. And, looking at his lines through the season, they're, it's kind of like Nebraska and just the way this season has gone. It's been up and down, and, right now they're still alive. And he's still kicking, and he's the most reliable guy out of the pen, the guy that they're gonna hand the ball to if they need outs in the late innings. And I think it's just somewhat representative of this team where things haven't come easy, and sometimes it's head scratching, why they lost this game or why he had an outing the way that he did. But again, they have an opportunity in front of them now over these next couple days. And if they can get things in order, then, come Monday, they're going to be where they want to be.
You know, Mitch, I'm happy that you said you were at the games yesterday because I thought I saw you. And then I choked on a fly because I didn't want to say your name and be wrong. Do you guys ever get in that?
I didn't see you. I didn't see you. You know, feel free. You can just walk up anytime.
Right, but I didn't want to be wrong.
Andrew looks pretty standard. He looks like your typical Abercrombie and Fitch.
I look like
kind of guy.
I thought you were going to meet the Robinsons on Mitch.
Why don't you watch his cartoons?
I was just there to check in. You know, get my credential. I was in the press box for 10 minutes, and then
I saw you on the concourse walking around.
I was walking around the concourse.
Andrew, just
trust your instinct.
I know. I just gotta use I have guts, right? I just gotta do it. Hey, okay. So Maryland tonight, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know they've got the bats in regards. Well, Maryland does, but even Nebraska. We know Nebraska can hit, but do they have the pitching to compete with Maryland tonight?
Well, you know, on one hand, Nebraska used a bunch of its bullpen yesterday, but you know, at the same time, it's not like they ran somebody out there for 4 innings. You know, I think most of the arms who we saw yesterday are available tonight because it's do or die. You know, this is like a weekend series where you've got to sweep it, and you're not necessarily gonna rest anybody. Now, if somebody threw you know, Emmett Olson's not going to pitch. If somebody out of the pen threw 50 pitches, you know, they're not going to go. But I think it's all hands on deck, and you've got to get this win and then allow yourself to take a breath and be in a great spot. Yeah, and Maryland's going to hit. I mean, this is I didn't realize this. I think I saw the number on BTN yesterday. That is it correct that they've scored more runs than any team in the country? Yeah. Is that possible? And it was a statistic that had Campbell and you know some mid-major programs in there, and there was Maryland right at the top. And if I read it wrong, I was, you know, doing stuff around the house. Like I was back home for the last 4 or 5 innings or 3 innings, I guess, of that game, and you know, somewhat paying attention. So I think I saw that there. Either way, I know they scored a ton of runs against Nebraska. Out in College Park for that series. And so that's going to be fresh in their minds. They're going to be confident with the bats. I think Nebraska's got the arms. I mean, you know, they've got weekend starters, you know, who can go out and do it. It's just a matter of performing and coming up with their best efforts when it's needed. It's needed more than ever right now.
In midweek games and against bad teams in the Big Ten, Maryland scores like a bad high school offense. They'll score 16, 17 runs.
Yeah, they do.
Like they just will. And I think between Shannon, Perry, and Walsh, you only threw 54 pitches between the three.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, so they're available.
But let me ask you something, Mitch. Not only because you typically do your own thing. Like if there's anybody that marches to the beat of his own drum in the local media, it is you. I saw you make reference, tweeting out, "Hey, big deal for Danny Kaelin, made the Elite 11 finalist." I remember a couple of shows in particular last year, I had some mini meltdowns over Zane Flores not getting enough run from media that he was an Elite 11 finalist. And at that time, I think he was the only 3-star that had made the Elite 11 finals. And I was like, gosh, if he was ours, if he was going to Nebraska, it would be vastly different. But at some point, we got to give his high school prowess its due on his greatness. We have no problems talking about DK because he's currently committed to Nebraska. Come on, DB, just stop. I know you love high school kids. Or do you get it because it's a Nebraska guy, it makes it easier to gravitate towards the story?
Yeah, I mean,
Zane is in your backyard.
Right. I was all over Zane in the Elite 11 last year. I mean, I was getting updates from Brian Stump, who runs that thing out in California, and Bruce Feldman, our guy at the Athletic, who is based right there and has a passion for covering that event. So I knew how Zane was doing and was really interested in it. I do think, yes, look, there's more interest in a player locally who's committed to Nebraska than there is in a player who's committed to another program. And that's nothing against the player. I mean, there was a ton of interest in Zane Flores last year, and he's as good of a quarterback with the ball in his hand, has as good of an arm, as you know, as anybody who's played the position ever in the state of Nebraska. So he deserved all that he got, but more fans are interested in Nebraska, the Nebraska Cornhuskers football program, than there are any one high school program, obviously, or even like Metro Conference football. So that's going to relate directly to the kind of attention and coverage that those players get.
So basically, you're like, DB, get off your high horse. I know you love all high school kids. Even though, I mean, Gretna's a rival, and I'm still loving this guy, right? Like,
hey, everybody. Well,
just get over it.
Not everybody, but there was a lot of love for Zane around.
Get over it. I'll get over it.
There was a lot of love for Zane all around the state, I think, last year. You run into rival high school coaches, and talking now, and even in the weeds, even in the weeds of the season, to Mike Huffman about Zane, and he would gush about him, as you know, and so he had a nice performance out in California last year. I think he got his due. I think people knew what was going on. It's going to be a little bit different with Danny next month, because he's got that N next to his name in the commitment column. So I'm really interested to see, and I'm happy for him. I talked to Danny on Sunday, and I know he was really hopeful that he was going to get this opportunity. We talked a little. The last regional was in State College, Pennsylvania, on Sunday, and they picked one guy from, I believe, every regional, like one MVP, who got an automatic invite to the finals. And then there were like maybe 11 or 12 wildcard spots, and he was really hopeful he was going to get one. And I'm not surprised because if you watch him work out, and I've seen him without the pads on,
tailor-made for that event.
Yeah, when he's just throwing the ball, and he showed it last year on the field with pads, and that really impressed me in just how far he had come along in being able to stand in there against a pass rush and get out of the pocket and really do things that a football player needs to do. Before last year, for the most part, his accolades and his offers and everything that was coming to him was based off the way that he looked in workouts. And he's really good in that setting. He hits spots and he has a good arm. I've watched him work out alongside Zane in that setting, and they're going to be doing that this weekend here in town together again. But I've watched those guys work out alongside each other, and it's pretty similar. In fact, I mean, Danny, I think, does some things even better when he's just standing there throwing the football, showing off that arm that he has.
We're talking to Mitch Sherman, Nebraska and college football for The Athletic, at Mitch Sherman on Twitter. Keep it right there, Mitch, because we had this conversation. Was it Monday? I think it was Monday. We were talking about how we hold recruits to different standards when it comes to similar numbers or situations. So take analyzing the track numbers of Carter Nelson. Why is it that we treat those as his biggest recruiting asset, but then look at a guy like Jalen Lloyd, for example, who's a multi-state champion, and almost take his ability for granted?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, Carter Nelson didn't have the same kind of performance at state track this year that he did last year when he high jumped 6'10", and we saw him go 7 feet before the state meet. I was out there last Friday, and he cleared 6'4", and you could tell that his ankle was giving him some trouble. He hurt it in basketball season, and it was really hard for him to kind of turn on it, which you have to do in the high jump. But no excuses by him. He didn't place. He scratched in the discus. Didn't place, I believe, in the pole vault either. I think he ran a nice leg in the 4x2 or 4x1? No, 4x1. He ran a nice leg there, but he's not going to wow you with like running a 10.8 or something like that. I mean, he's 235 pounds or 225 pounds, but I don't know that we necessarily like place for Carter. It's really, really interesting to see a guy his size who can high jump 6'10" or 7 feet. You just don't see that. And I think that opens eyes. And that's why, Alabama is on him, because he's got unique athleticism for somebody his size. Now, Jalen, of course, the way that he jumps and the way that he runs, extraordinary and, great at what he does. You can find other guys in other parts of the country who do that. I don't even know if I'm explaining it right. There's probably a a narrative or a thought from some in the football community who believe that Jalen is a track athlete who's playing football. I don't know if I believe that. We'll see when he gets on the football field. And that Carter is a football player who is an outstanding athlete, and it translates to the track. We'll find out over the next 4 years. I think Carter Nelson's going to have the opportunity for sure to go somewhere and make it to the have a chance to make it to the NFL. He's that talented, I think, as a football player. Jalen might be competing in the Olympics, and track might be his future. We'll see. He's clearly got some stuff to prove on the football field. But
one guy's 6'6", the other's 5'10".
That's true.
I actually think that's because Jalen was our leading receiver, and he did it against good competition. So I don't think it's a football to football thing, because if you look at who performs better against better competition, I think advantage Lloyd. But when you think upside and size, it's hard
to argue against Nelson.
You just can't debate Carter Nelson at 6'6" with the ability to go get a football, right?
That's certainly why he has the offers that he does and has gotten the attention.
And that may be different for Jalen if he was 6'1".
Oh yeah,
or if he wasn't 165 pounds.
I'm sure it'd be
right. Absolutely. If you put that kind of speed and jumping ability with somebody who is has also got the size, then he's a different level of prospect. Doesn't mean that he can't have the same success though.
When you take a look at the depth and the caliber, and listen, and I think you're close enough to it where you know what I'm saying. Like, I know Gretna loses Zane. Gretna will still be formidable. Elkhorn South, Millard South, Bellevue West, West Side, Omaha North. Central's got their fair share of talent. When you take a look at the depth in this 2024 class as it relates to football, I leave out a guy like Dash Bauman at Lincoln East. A lot of good players a long way down the line. When's the last time you remember seeing this kind of high-end talent from a depth standpoint?
Well, it'll be interesting to see by the time this class matures and we get to signing day how many guys there are who sign with Power 5 programs. I think they're going to surpass the 23 class, which had as much depth in terms of high-end talent or Power 5 talent as any that we've seen in Nebraska. And the question becomes, is it just that more programs are noticing? Is it just that more programs, as the snowball goes downhill, have come into the state? When Notre Dame and Penn State start coming in and recruiting multiple players, and you see Georgia come in, is that just opening the eyes of all these regional programs? And so the Missouris and Kansas States, they end up offering more guys because they look harder at these players? Or is there actually more talent in the pipeline? I'd argue the latter. I think there's more talent, more depth, and it's not just a matter of more programs looking. That's happening too, but the reason that's happening is because the talent is there and these guys are getting the training. They're doing it from a young age. They're setting these goals to be able to play in college, and they realize now more than they ever have that it's attainable. 24 is probably going to be the same way. Maybe they'll surpass the numbers. It's a similar year as far as I see it right now. If you look back 12 months ago at where we were at with the 23s and say, where are we at with the 24s now? The 24s are probably a little bit ahead. They're creeping up right there, with double digits already in the entire state. And then, you go a year later and I know the depth isn't there yet with the 25s and even the 26s, but I mean, you put Christian Jones and Tyson Terry at the top of that list in 25, and that's a higher top than maybe you have with even these past two classes. I mean, it remains to be seen. I don't want to slight the 24 guys because there's some great players at the top of that, but Christian Jones might be on another level entirely, and Tyson Terry's been a big-time prospect since he was a freshman.
Now, Mitch, you spoke a lot, and this is probably the last time I'm going to bring up this name, at least for a little while, but you spoke a lot with
the Raiola family throughout his process, and you did a nice feature piece maybe about a month ago. And I just kind of wanted to ask, based on what you learned and the conversations that you had with him and the family, did you always, maybe always is probably a strong word.
Did you see it coming?
Did you see Georgia coming in those conversations? Like, did you kind of know that Nebraska wasn't his first choice?
No. I think he always held Georgia up here in extremely high regard, and you could see that from when they were at the national championship game. And he was really captured by just the greatness of that football program. And that was first offer. And that always means something to a young player. Right after his freshman year, Nebraska was a few days later, and it was just a matter of logistics. He went to Athens before he came to Lincoln, and I think anywhere that Dylan went that summer, he was going to get offers because he was already that good, and people could see the talent and go, "Wow, this guy's 15." I mean, okay, it's an easy decision, but that's just the order that it came in. So I think from that very beginning, Georgia had momentum with him, and they had continuity on the coaching staff, which wasn't the case at Nebraska, and they won national championships in back-to-back years. So those factors right there you can't overcome that. Nebraska was going to have to win that race in a completely different way, and they put their best foot forward, and they did it with Matt Rule. They tried, and they had a chance. I thought in early March, late February, that Nebraska was in a really good position, and then when we got to late March, early April, after he visited both of the campuses in a short time and, was looking at it from a different perspective, was no longer looking at it from the perspective of being a young recruit who was just soaking everything up and his things changed. Like, it was like, okay, these are the coaches who are here in place right now that I would sign to play with. These are the players who are going to be there for the most part when I show up on campus. What's the level of football going to look like? When he started to look at it like that, that's when things, got out of whack for Nebraska. And it's obvious. You could go watch a practice at Georgia and then go watch a practice at Nebraska. And if you're looking for greatness in football terms, it's not going to be hard to figure it out right now. And ultimately, that's what it came down to for him. Plus, the connection that he had with Georgia was strong, dating back to 2021.
Mitch, let me get you out of here in this. We only got about a minute, but you've seen a lot of acquisitions, companies, takeovers. You know a lot about contracts. Fake outrage or warranted that folks had such disdain for Kevin Warren?
I think there's some of it that's more warranted now that we're learning about the incomplete nature of the television contract. A lot of the stuff that happened on his watch early on, I don't think any commissioner who was new and was as inexperienced in that role as he was going to come out looking great. And I didn't necessarily hold that against him back in 2020 and in 2021. Some of the difficulties that the Big Ten had, everybody was having difficulties then getting things together. But this stuff at the end, I think is hard to overlook. And, we'll see when it's all said and done and the contracts are signed and they start playing football in 23 and how it all looks. Maybe this will be a blip and, it won't register that much. And we'll look at his time with a little bit more, balance. But right now, just because of the news that's happened in the last week and the television contract realm, it's hard to look at it now and say that it, it's good. It's not good to be 3 months away from the season and not have a finalized deal yet for your league, especially when you're the Big Ten and you carry as much weight as these 14 schools do.
Mitch, we appreciate you, man. Thanks so much for your time. We'll talk again in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, Mitch.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
That's Mitch Sherman. We will do the Sports Six Pack after the break.
Oh, good for you.
Oh, he touched it. He touched it.
Man, I feel great, man. I know I'm going to Disneyland.
That thing wet.
I don't know.
Oh, come on, Shane.
Gives up nothing.
Sorry about that.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Got him!
Get up, baby. Get up, baby. Get up.
It's my flock going on.
Oh, no look pass Friesel to Casey.
How about them apples?
Right there. Did he do it?
Got it!
Are you kidding me?
It's a gunner! It's a gunner! It's a gunner! Uh-oh. See you later!
Get up, baby. Get up, baby. Get up.
The throw to the plate is going to be late.
It is grand salami time! Game over! Game over! Touchdown!
This is wrong, people. Right there. Touchdown, Nebraska!
Game over!
Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio. Time now for the Sports Six Pack on Coffee and Cream with Andrew Rogers and Damon Benning. Presented by Zipline Brewing Company, makers of Dear Old Nebraska Brew, the official beer of Nebraska alumni.
It is that time, the Sports Six Pack here on Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency, presented by Zipline Brewing. And Zipline is in the midst of their farewell tour of their OG tap room. So hopefully you've made it out to support them during this time. Maybe you were there last night. Hey, Nebraska played at 2 o'clock. The game got over about 5:30. Maybe you headed over and played trivia, Zipline Trivia with Tom and Heather. But if you missed it, they have cask tapping. They have music coming on Friday. They have complicated patterns release and pint night, which was a little complicated for me to read there. And the last day of the tap room, the Cold Roller IPA exclusive release. That's their merch sale too. So give Zipline some love and go check them out during this week. Maybe these questions will get complicated. Who knows?
Shane, who sings that song "Complicated"?
I don't know.
Why did you have to
make
make
things
so
so complicated? See the way. Is it Avril Lavigne?
I don't know.
Don't act like you don't know. It is Avril Lavigne.
Heck yes.
I wouldn't brag about that.
That's frustrated.
You shouldn't get. What is that, Mumble
This too. And a but and a but and a break, and you take what you get, but you turn it into.
Stop it. Jay Rich said it must be a. Apparently, Hockey Dad's not happy with you, Shane. He said, "Quit with the drops."
Ooh.
No, actually, he didn't say that. I made a lot of that up.
I played
Ooh,
drops.
good save.
They get
Hey,
kind of mad. I
she did
played
a-
drops during the commercial break the entire time.
The interview she did with Peyton Robb last night was legit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. That story is unbelievable for Peyton Robb. My man spends an hour a day in a infection chamber, like to combat what the flesh-eating ailment.
That was such a
Freaky, fluky deal.
gross photo.
Yeah, it made the rounds.
Oh.
Look, and you know I'm Team Rob too.
Oh,
so
same. I'm just happy that it's still there, right?
Man, they were like, "Go fund me." Yep, sign me up. Like, yeah, I'm Team Rob, and he'd like to make a comeback.
Could you imagine that
Only,
story?
he wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a real one.
Go
Let's
ahead,
roll,
Shane.
Shane.
Question number 1.
Amazing Daniel asks, which is weirder, NBA without LeBron or NFL without TB?
NBA without LeBron. Because there is only one LeBron. And I know there's only one Tom Brady, right? But LeBron's name bigger than Tom Brady's.
Ooh.
You remove Tom Brady, people are going to be like, okay, like Aaron Rodgers is still there. The up-and-coming Patrick Mahomes. Like, you could make the argument like, oh, Steph Curry's still there.
NBA's in a good spot, though.
But LeBron's name.
LeBron James.
And I also think, too, because TB doesn't really make himself known too much on social media, and LeBron does. So just the attachment to LeBron, I'm going to say it would be weirder to see an NBA without him. Which, because I would guess it was weird when MJ left, right? People were probably like, "Oh man,
yeah,
the NBA without MJ."
The league struggled.
It went into a downfall for like 5 years.
That's the league's fault because they had marketed to just one guy, so they had to redo their ad campaigns. Instead of looking for the next Jordan, you had to start getting back to promoting the brand and not the icon. I'll say LeBron, even though I think Rodgers is a weird analogy because he's about out too.
But he's still there.
But I know one thing: if he has a big year in that New York market, get ready for A-Rod fatigue and Mike Sautter fatigue.
I'm already fatigued by Mike
Man.
Sautter. Maybe we should ask him at 9:45.
Question number 2.
Take the whole 12 minutes.
Yeah, like how demanding are you going to be?
Oh, he's expecting a championship.
Go ahead, Shane.
After watching the first round of the Big Ten baseball conference tournament, who would you pick as your, it's capitalized, favorite to go the distance?
Well, I'll make Maryland the fave, but my dark horse is Indiana. If a 2C can be a dark horse.
Mm-hmm.
I know you like Iowa as a dark horse.
I don't want to latch onto Iowa just because they scored 13 runs. Like, I just don't really want to do that. Like, I know they mercied their opponent. I get it. It was a good win for them. But there are teams that score boatloads of runs, there's other really good teams that win by 1. Ergo Maryland. Ergo Indiana. I mean, Nebraska's up there too.
Yeah, look what the number 4 seed did last year.
Yeah.
Excellent point.
Every time I hear you say mercy, I always think Kanye West. Lamborghini, mercy, your chick's so thirsty.
Yeah, I don't want to latch on to the favorite either. So I'll go with Indiana too.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'll go with Indiana.
You should have stuck with Iowa. You may be right.
Question number 3.
I right now I have a 1 out of 4 chance, right? As long as one of those elimination teams don't make a run.
Yeah.
Michigan State, watch out for them. They're going to come back.
Maryland's going to score 1,000. Or not Maryland. Who they have today? Rutgers?
Yes.
Yeah. Rutgers will score 10.
Watch out for Michigan State.
Okay. Go Sparty.
All right, it looks like we got some long questions coming up here.
All right, practice reading. Let's go.
Mike Schaefer presented. Oh, just read it right then. Okay, Mike Schaefer presented this question on Twitter last night, and it had me thinking. Not really. Is Miami / South Florida having the best 2023 for a city in sports? Panthers, Heat, FAU, Miami men / women, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
So is Miami or the
greatest town ever? Yes.
South Florida having the best 2023 for a city in sports?
It's a good question.
They're up there. I think Boston's up there too.
Me too. I was gonna go. I'm automatically thinking Connecticut,
and so
and stores in like 2011 or 13. I think women won, men won. I'm sure the Patriots won.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I may take a look at Boston.
So and
I'd have to do some research.
And even just this year, you had the President's Trophy winner.
Yeah.
Right.
Failure of the season, but
yeah, but you also had Boston College. Make the Frozen Four.
Correct.
Oh no, Boston U. I'm sorry, Boston U.
The Terriers.
Yep, and Boston College had Zay Flowers get drafted. Like if we're really gonna dig deep into Boston,
I don't know. I have to research.
The Celtics are still in the Eastern Conference Finals.
My gut says potentially Boston is in that discussion, and he said any year ever. I would go back and look at the 11-13.
Oh well, this says best 2023, but any year ever. That's an even better
so
question.
It's just 2023. Yeah, 2023. I'm sure.
But I like the enhancement of your point. Like if we made any year. Oh, let's do some research on that. Don't have time because we always run out of time in the Sports Six Pack.
Yeah.
Question number 4.
This question has been circulating around on social media. If you were on vacation, with the family and your dog or pet passed away, would you want the dog sitter to call you immediately or wait to tell you when you get back?
I know me. Call me immediately.
I would want the call too. Now, would you leave vacation to go back home? Say you're on day 2 of your vacation and it's a 5-day trip.
You know what I want for
Cancun.
sure? You know what I want for sure? The choice. Call me. I would be livid.
Would you leave though?
I don't know. If I had the means.
Would you tell?
Would a flight give me bereavement for a pet?
No.
How do you know? You work for, as Shane would say, TWA?
No, I call a lot of airlines and complain.
Do you work for TWA? in 2000?
Yep, exactly.
I don't know. I would want the choice.
I don't know. Would I leave?
Well, you got to be able to take care of.
But see, here's the thing.
Animal afterwards. I mean, if you're
what is she going to do? Or he?
What if you like the dog sitter was a family friend or even a family member, and they're like, hey. The dog has already passed. They're not going to know that you went back and got them cremated and got their ashes. What if I just did that for you and had the ashes waiting for you when you got home? You can take some time while you're on vacation.
No, I would want to know.
Well, wanting to know is one thing, but I'm saying, would you go home?
If I had the means, I would.
See, I don't know if I'd go home.
Oh, I probably would. The Penguins and Steelers both won titles in 2009.
That they did.
Lakers and Dodgers in 18-19. I mean, but who's counting?
Now we got to dribble down to the high school side and the college side.
Dodgers, well, hard to beat West Side as we just won golf.
So yesterday, Omaha.
1, 2, 3.
Omaha is the best.
Omaha
2023. No, we'll get to the remaining 2 questions after we talk to Brian Edwards and Michael Bruntz. So stick around. We will do an extended 6-pack coming up.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio. Now, Vegas insider, senior handicapper, and fan of the cold Budweiser bottles, Brian Edwards.
It's got to be touchdown, touchdown, touchdown.
Brian Edwards.
I don't really love it.
Brian Edwards.
Were they using the cream cheese to butter the bagel?
Brian Edwards.
I'm going with the cowgirl.
Here is Brian Edwards.
Oh, good news. We get to talk about betting. And I haven't had a good week. I was talking to a buddy yesterday that said he was down big this past week. And I'm like, well, you got to listen to Brian Edwards. And B, it's actually your buddy Scotty. You remember
Manziera. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
he told me he's down this week, and it hasn't been a good week for him.
He's betting too much baseball.
I don't know.
You got off of baseball in a hurry. Be like, when's the last time you messed around with baseball?
So I pretty much quit baseball like a decade ago. I think it was around when Chipper retired. So whatever that is, 10, 11 years ago.
You were a Larry fan, or you just what?
I just got sick of
bad bullpen.
Well, no, the late August to March Madness grind, and then jumping into a new sport that you have to be passionate about daily. I just kind of decided I wanted a little break from the day-to-day grind and stress of bets and ball games all the time. And so, I mean, it's not that I like quit betting. I just have UFC and some NBA after March Madness, but it's kind of a slower, it kind of gives me a little, not so stressed out about games every night.
Yeah. Man. That and Mackenzie Dern. It makes everything
stress free, right?
Yeah.
No, so the reason he's so low, B, is because of the sweeps that we're seeing in every series in the Eastern Conference Finals for not well, again, hockey and the ECF, because he was like, Hurricanes are going to win eventually, right? So he's just going to keep betting the Hurricanes, and they never won. Same kind of thing with the Lakers.
What is that?
They never won.
What's that term be? Is it the regression or it's something like that, right?
Well, you just glutton for punishment, maybe?
Yeah, I don't think that's what
is that a 7 deadly sin?
Or chasing? I'm not sure. Yeah, you chase something that you think it's due, but I don't necessarily subscribe to that. I think it's kind of glutton for punishment.
Oh man,
I don't like it.
Speaking of basketball, let's start there and look at the Celtics going back home. And the Heat are given 8 tonight on the road.
Big, fat, juicy number.
It's a nice number because it gives you a lot of breathing room, especially with how the Heat have played on the road this series. So is that why you're leaning Heat here? Do you think, and ultimately, I guess, are you thinking the Celtics are going to win, but it's just going to be a close game?
Maybe. I mean, I like the Heat. There's no lean to it. I'm on them, and I'm on them, pretty fairly strong here. So the Heat have been underdogs of 7.5 points or more only 9 times this year, but they're 8-1 against the spread. And in their last 13 as an underdog, they're 11-2 against the spread with 10 outright wins. But let's not forget, one of those L's was game 2 at the Knicks when Butler was out. So with Jimmy, they're 11-1 ATS with 9 outright wins, the last 12 as a dog. And with Jimmy, they're 12-3 both straight up and against the spread last 15. I just think they had one bad half. And I mean, the Celtics have not had a good series, but they still got plenty of really good players. They made shots in the second half. The Heat had a 6-point halftime lead, and Boston just played a lot better in the second half, and kudos to them. But I think we're going to get a close game tonight. And I mean, the way you put it, Boston probably wins. But I mean, Miami could certainly win tonight, no doubt. And I definitely like them plus the points. Now, I am on the total as well, but the Heat is my bread and butter tonight, if you will.
What number are you getting for the total?
215 or I'm sorry, 215.5 at most books. So the over's 3-1 in the series so far. The combined scores have been 215, 230, 216, and 239. So 2 of them have been right there at the number. 2 of them have went over by a good bit. The over's on a 16-6 run for Miami in its last 22 games. But one of those unders was 221 combined against the Hawks. So the record could be better than 16-6, and the over's on an 11-4 run for the Celtics, and still a pretty low number. Miami, I think they only had 43 points in the second half the other night, and it went under by a half point. So I think we're going to get more points tonight.
Yeah, I like looking at futures because it helps me take some long shots in terms of predictions, right? I know you're not a baseball guy, but one team I took a long shot on to make the World Series was the Seattle Mariners. I have a similar team in football in the Big 12. What did you make the win total, or what do you like about the win total when it comes to the Texas Tech Red Raiders?
Oh, Red Raiders are kind of catching me a little bit off guard.
Because I think they're going to be pretty good. And I'm just curious to see. I mean, because people are on LSU. I like them early, but I'm going to leave them alone because people are on them. A couple of months ago, I said FSU, but people are on them too, I think. So I'm going to go to a different one, and I'm going to go to the Red Raiders.
All right, so I'm looking at their schedule now, or pulling it up. If it'll come up, come on, baby.
Come on, baby.
Okay. Yeah, here we go. All right, well, I'm going to give it a W in Laramie, although that's going up into altitude. They get Oregon at home. All right.
Yep. That's actually a good little non-con matchup.
Yeah, no, I kind of like their non-con schedule.
Yeah, because Oregon is like 3.5 to 1 to win the whole thing. I think they're like plus 3,500.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a good one.
You test yourself. I mean, Wyoming's not some power school, but it's not easy to go to Laramie, and then you get one layup, and then you get Houston at home, and then obviously the Oregon game is at home. So yeah, I just have not studied them enough to have. I don't even. What is the number? I'm sorry, Damon.
I think I was seeing 7.5s, and I saw some 8s.
Oh gosh, I'm forgetting that you get UCF in the Big 12 now and
Yeah.
BYU.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, come on, Athlon. My magazine needs to get here, man. My magazine will be
Call
here
them out.
in the next week, and I will be able to better answer these questions after I dive into that.
So are you kind of vibing with the LSU love, the FSU love?
Has to be vibing with LSU.
Well,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Damon. No, you go ahead. Finish that.
Because it's not a secret if enough people like it, right?
No, I hear that for sure. I am bullish on LSU. And by the way, they have moved to 2.5 at a lot of books in that week 1 game against FSU. So if you like LSU in that week 1 game, it is in Orlando, by the way, and I do like LSU in that game. And you have access to it. You probably want to go ahead and get it because it seems like as if it might be moving to 3. I would not like it at more than 3. I like it at 3 or fewer.
That doesn't seem right. FSU is loaded outside the numbers, and I get it. LSU will be able to play some defense, but man, I don't know, man. Of those young, supposed to be phenom quarterbacks that aren't young anymore. Gosh, I like FSU better than Daniels at LSU.
I'll say this about FSU. They did a great job in the portal. They got 10 transferred. 8 of them are ranked 4-star transfers. And the kid they got from Sparta, you got Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman, the wide receiver they got. I mean, he's big time. A big guy, go up in traffic, make plays. They do have FSU has 94% of their defensive production coming back. However, they gave up 32 to Oklahoma, and that was like Oklahoma's JV squad. They had like 5 guys, sitting out to stay healthy for the draft. And they gave up 38 at home to my Florida team. Just talking about FSU's defense in the last 2 games, a week after Florida couldn't do anything against Vandy's defense. So I know FSU's getting all the offseason love. I've got them going 9-3 or 10-2, which their season win totals at 10 at DraftKings and 9.5 at FanDuel. I've got FSU losing to LSU and Clemson, but those are 2 very tightly lined games where they're 2.5-point underdog in both.
Brian, I'll get you out of here on this. I know you're a fighter and not like
no, I'm not. I'm a fight fan.
Fight fan. But in UFC is next week. But the big news coming this week was the fight between Crawford and Spence, and we kind of got into it a little bit. July 29th is that fight, but they're doing some weird thing, or at least trying to do some weird thing where they fight like 2 out of 3, right?
Yeah,
it's like a winner out of 2 out of 3
the bi-directional rematch clause, right? Where you can make the rematch clause for the second fight, and then they're already fast forwarding. Well, if they somehow split, they got a third fight.
They got to do a third one.
But how about 8
and that's what I was
guaranteed for both fighters?
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, and you tell me, Damon, because I know you watched the fight. Was that another horrible boxing decision? I know we get them in MMA, but last weekend wasn't it bad?
I wasn't along the lines of horrible. I had it 115, 113, but I gave the 12th round to Haney. It certainly wasn't robbery.
Okay.
I don't get the whole Loma robbery thing. I watched it without the volume. I think 115, 113.
Man, I don't know. I thought Loma had the edge. I thought he was getting the edge toward the end.
So there's a couple key rounds early, second,
definitely were.
And what you did with the 12th. That's the difference.
All right, gentlemen. Thanks for having me.
B, you're the man.
Appreciate you.
We'll talk to you this week.
Have a great week and weekend.
You got it.
You too, man. That's Brian Edwards at Vegas V Edwards on Twitter. Toss
7.5 for Texas Tech.
Take the over?
For sure.
For sure. Michael Bruntz up next.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream on Hail Varsity Radio with Andrew Rogers and Damon
First
Benning.
pitch swinging and Fisher drives it to left. Slight going back on the run. Looking up and it's gone. Home run number 7 for Charlie Fisher. And a 3-0 Nebraska lead. The 1-1. And Swanson puts a charge in this one to left center field. Going back is Slight. Looking up at the wall, it's gone! Home run number 18 on the year for Gabe Swanson. And it's a brand new ball game, tied at 6. The pitch, ball 4, and it's 9-6 Nebraska. The merry-go-round continues in downtown Omaha.
Every time I hear the name Charlie Fisher, I think Charlie Fisher.
Hey,
Where
he's
is
on
he?
a
I don't know.
heater.
I don't know.
I mean, an absolute heater.
And then when I hear Gabe Swanson, I think of Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec.
I don't watch that show, but that has my friend in there, right? That
Yes.
yes.
No.
Rashida Jones?
Yes, she's in there.
Somebody on Twitter told me that.
Because I was thinking The Office,
and that's
but she's in there
that's
too.
one of those people. I mean, ugly's too strong of a word, but remember those people like that aren't like really good looking, but you just kind of like, oh, I like her. I'm not calling her ugly. I'm just saying she's just somebody that an actress that I like.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
You gravitate to her, personality wise.
A little strong, gravitate towards much, except mediocrity.
Sorry. Your gravitational pull is not there.
Like Fisher. So the ball that he hit out to left, could you feel which way the wind was blowing? Because that ball didn't seem like it should get out.
Yeah, he got under it.
I was like, wow, Fish.
Well, kind of the same thing with Swanson's home run. Like
no, that was a shot.
See, it didn't look like it though.
Oh,
like it when it came off the bat, I'm like, it's kind of high. Like he's strong, which is why he propelled it out.
I thought Matthews
he
was
got
the
under
hardest hit ball, and that one was the one that only went 380. I keep saying only. I don't mean only. That went 384.
Right.
See you later.
But it only went 384 feet instead of 387 or whatever
like
it needed
a
to go.
Shot.
Let's go to our next guest, Michael Bruntz, senior writer for Husker 24/7 at Michael Bruntz on Twitter. Michael, good morning.
How's it going?
What's up, buddy? Are you here?
Where I'm not in the room with you now.
Well, are you close to the Schwabe?
No, I'm navigating drop-off lane right now.
Gosh,
everybody
in their drop-off
lane. That is the worst, man. Bruntz, let me be honest. If you knew school and daycare drop-off was part of having a child, would you reconsider?
So here's the thing. So we're talking preschool drop-off, all right?
Oh my.
And for whatever reason, I did not hit the lottery on a number of aspects of parenting. I'll put it that way. And the one that I, for some reason, did was the drop-off line. Like, I've never had an issue. Always, goes in great. It's usually just getting from the house to the car that's fraught with danger. So if you can get down the jetway into the plane, you're okay. It's just, that's where we're at.
What? Okay, wait. That deserves a follow-up. So, Brunsey, because I'm telling you, I go through this. How long is the pre get ready to leave the house?
Are you talking about waking up in the morning?
Oh, I've been up since 5:45. Like it's a long process. The changing of clothes is usually about
unreal.
An hour out.
It's unreal.
It's like a football game, right? Like everybody shows up like 90 minutes beforehand. People start warming up in certain clothes. You get about an hour in, you get your game day gear on, and you got your uniform on. You go out and do some more warm ups.
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared for how like you got to have like that clock on the wall that like 15 minutes you got to be starting the walk to the field or else it's not going to happen. So
she was with me in Des Moines with my 13-year-old, and I thank the Lord we were only 6 minutes from the facility because
you're gonna walk there if it really got bad.
Bronzy, I felt like the worst parent ever. I'm watching her get ready. She's very particular. She's only 4, right? So this probably says more about me than
her.
She can't get what's called a high pony, right? So I'm watching her in this full-length mirror. Micah's like looking at her laughing because he likes to chastise her, and she's got these tears welling up in her eyes, right? And I said, Bear, what's going on? And she said, it's a high pony. And I'm like, okay, I can't do anything. I'm worthless. Like, I can't help
you. Didn't look up YouTube or anything to figure out how to put the high pony in?
No, because I didn't have time. So the next phase was, can we put it in a bun and put it through the back of her hat? Because she brought 2 hats. Yeah. No, that wasn't good either because she had hair coming from under the hat. So she went and got her little narrow behind and sat on the bathroom counter, wet her hair, which means she turned on the water, put the water in her hand, and threw it on her. So she's wet. so she could brush her hair back to get her hat on, and we had to change her clothes. And she was traumatized because we were out of order in wearing the clothes. Unbelievable. Yeah. I did laundry. I was only there for 30 hours, and I did laundry so she could wear her shirt again.
See, you guys probably think like, wow, Andrew, you even want to like second guess having kids? Like these are the stories I live for. Like, I can't wait
it should be total,
to have a story like this someday.
Be total birth control. Shame on you.
Man, you want to know the worst is like if you have any kind of family picture set up, that's just like you're asking for the worst possible outcome that day. Yeah. Like,
wait, you're telling me they don't smile and just are easy?
Oh no, I'm not even talking about the pictures. I'm just talking getting there.
Oh,
like,
oh yeah. You're so not exaggerating. It's not even like it's funny, but you're not exaggerating.
We've gotten so bad. One time, we've got two. We've got a 4-year-old and like our youngest is gonna be 2 in the fall. We didn't even get to family pictures because we had one kid that got sick on themselves, and then the other kid got sick on themselves. We got like 5 blocks from our house, and we had to turn around and cancel. That's how bad it got.
Yeah, we're not doing this today. Bruntz, what the pros and cons of yeah, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Of winning ugly. Were you like, ooh, they better get it in gear for tonight and clean some of this up? Or were you like, oh, I'll take it. It's postseason. They've lost these games before.
Oh, I mean, that's a game that Nebraska has not really been in this year. I mean, I think I went back last night and looked, and going into the week, I think they had only been in 15 games that have been decided by 2 runs or less. Mm-hmm. I mean, that sixth inning line is a pretty significant cutoff for whether or not Nebraska is going to win a baseball game. It's pretty cut and dry. Like, if they're not winning after the 6th, they're not going to win. And I mean, that kind of back and forth game has not really been, what this team has done well. I mean, they've counterpunched well, but they're a team that for the most part has played well from in front. I mean, that's just kind of how they are, is they all season have thrown the first punch, and then they kind of kept pouring it on. I mean, there really hasn't been a lot of drama in a lot of their games, good or bad. And, to come back with 6 runs right after you give up the 3 spot, I mean, that was new. So, I mean, the last couple of weeks, this team has won different ways. I mean, they went the small ball route against Penn State. They did it. Mm-hmm. They did it some against Purdue, which they hadn't done all year. They won the way they did yesterday, where, I mean, pretty much every high leverage guy that you put in that game couldn't find the strike zone until you go to Will Walsh. And I mean, that's the type of game that in a tournament setting, I think it probably gives you a little bit more momentum than, we got to really fix this. I mean, obviously you're going to need, those guys that pitched you yesterday come back this week and throw strikes at some point. But I mean, I think to win that kind of game, I mean, it's a big deal. And even going back to, when they kind of had their run in 2014, that group started that tournament with a kind of an emotional come from behind win that kind of got them going. And I think that could be the type of win that maybe helps this team a little bit too.
Whether it's getting your kids ready in the morning or getting them ready for pictures. Yesterday was anything but a walk in the park. Well, maybe there were a lot of walks in the park. And maybe I'll think back. But you know what?
I'm puking. That's for sure.
What I'm getting at is you never really felt comfortable once Rutgers put their first run on the board. I mean, they were starting to barrel up Olsen a little bit, and then it just started to spiral downhill a little bit. But what did the late innings tell you, though, about the growth of this Nebraska team over the course of the season in regards to seeing more pitches in their ABs and never really feeling like they were out of the game?
Yeah, I mean, they kind of in that same stretch of games, basically the the 2-game blow up at Creighton. I mean, that's kind of the inflection point for things. This lineup has gotten a lot better about just putting the ball in play. And that had been missing a lot the entire year. I mean, Will Bolt has talked about it a lot, that, that his team was striking out way too much and not just moving the line and grounding out to second rather than taking a strikeout. I mean, those types of plays are really big. And, I thought that early in that game yesterday, I mean, they were hitting balls hard. And I thought they kind of had a chance to, really throw an early knockout punch and didn't do it. But I think to their credit, what they did was they, like you said, I mean, they saw a lot of pitches. Rutgers was obviously struggling to find the strike zone as well. And they're not really a pitching staff that does that either. So that was a little bit out of character for them. But since that Creighton, is it even a double header if you only play 3 innings in the first one? I don't know, but they've been much more competitive with at bats, and I think you're seeing the benefits of that, offensively, and they're rather than getting 2 guys on and not getting anything, you're at least getting 1 run out of situations or making guys work quite a bit. And I even thought Rutgers' starter yesterday, I mean, he got really strong as that start went along.
Sure did.
I was pretty impressed with him, but yeah, I mean, I think Nebraska did a really nice job of just making Rutgers work. And it's funny when you do that and you've got the crowd behind you. I mean, it just kind of turns into you start to feel that pressure so much when you're able to just string at bats together like that.
So, Bruntz, you just talked about not striking out in competitive at bats, and one of the hardest balls hit all day yesterday was by Bryce Matthews, and that turned out to be an out. When you think Bryce Matthews and quality at bats, do you think 60 consecutive games reaching base?
I mean,
that's staggering.
It is. It's hard because his hits are so loud. You know what I mean? like you forget about the singles that just kind of find the outfield, or he's gotten, to his credit, much better this year about taking walks.
Yeah.
I mean, that was not part of his game in the past. And I think his patience at the plate has been much better. Generally, his pitch selection has been much better this season. And, I don't know. I mean, I think he's just making pitchers pitch to him now, more so than maybe what he did in the past. And he's just hammering mistakes. I mean, that's been the biggest thing with him is you leave a ball up or, miss a spot, and he's going to absolutely tattoo it. I agree. I would have thought that ball that he hit that died at the track was going to be gone, versus what Fisher did, which it kind of landed in that little, almost like barely got over.
Yeah, it hit the mini Gulf Stream.
Yeah. Found whatever wind there was yesterday, but I mean that's I'm curious to see kind of how Bryce goes through the week, because you could tell he was still kind of nursing the back a little bit, I thought.
What did it hit the Missouri River Gulf Stream? Is that what it was, DB?
You know what it was.
Hey, Bruntz, yesterday we were talking to Andy Kendi, and he had said, man, I was talking to people in the newsroom, and a lot of people didn't know the Big Ten tournament was even happening this week. And that's a lot to kind of say about the promotional aspect that the Big Ten does. But more so than that, he was asking people how many Husker fans were going to end up at Charles Schwab yesterday.
Yeah,
and Kendi was like, I'm thinking like, what do you say, 4,000 or 5,000?
Yeah.
And somebody else
Bill
said,
Ramby said 9.
9,000, 10,000. And so I don't think they eclipsed the 9,000 mark. But they probably got pretty close to the.
Was it announced at 7, Bruntz?
I don't know. I was just, as you were saying that, I never actually looked to see what it officially was.
Right. It didn't feel like 7 if it was 7.
It didn't.
It didn't feel like 7. I mean, it felt a little less than that. But now that they have a night game tonight against Maryland, could you see Husker fans showing out and getting close to that 9,000-10,000 mark?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I could see it. Yeah, I mean, you got a night game. You know, I think there was also probably a little bit of wait and see with some too. Like if you got through that first game, I think a lot of fans are kind of waiting to see how that was going to play out. And now you're playing the Big Ten champs, a very, very good baseball team in Maryland, and a team that puts runs up too, just like Nebraska does. I mean, I think it's got the potential to be a pretty exciting game. So I would not be at all surprised if they get close to that. And I mean, if you're able to get through, I mean, let's not get ahead of ourselves here, but if you get through to that next game and you're in pretty strong control, I mean, you're going to have a ton of fans. It was kind of that same way in 14 though. I mean, it started out kind of slow, but as Nebraska kept winning the weekend, that tournament was huge. So I could see that trending that way if Nebraska is able to kind of keep going.
Yeah, what in the world has happened to Ohio State baseball? Bruntz, when you
quick little side note there,
it's just I just can't believe they're in the cellar,
right?
So you can't really call them a dark horse because I think they're the 2 seed. I like anybody not named Maryland. I'd probably take Indiana. Is there somebody you like that you think, again, not off the grid, but isn't Maryland?
Yeah, Iowa. I mean, Iowa.
That Andrew really wanted to say that. I made him cave and say Indiana. He said Iowa yesterday. I talked him into Indiana this morning.
Yeah. No, I mean, Indiana's going to be a scary team for the next couple of years. I mean, they're young.
Yep.
And the thing that Iowa has that I think helps them in a situation like this is I think they've got the best pitching in the conference. I mean, they've got 3 starters that you feel pretty good about.
Yep.
I mean, towards the end of the season, when you're throwing Brody Brecht as your Sunday guy, and your Sunday guy's throwing close to 100 with a plus slider, I mean that's unique in the Big Ten. And I mean, I think they've got a great coach. I think they always seem to kind of show up in these tournament settings in a pretty big way. So I would say Iowa, if not Maryland. The other thing too, I mean, Michigan State's going to be a tough out for Rutgers.
Andrew's on it.
Yeah,
that game's going to be they'll score 20 runs combined in that game.
How on it are we? 13 on it, or are we? Huh?
I'm done with you, bro. It's like I'm leaving.
Hey, Bruntz, let me change gears quickly here because I got a question regarding more like attendance and ticket sales. So, have you ever seen a school like try to control who comes into their stadium more than what you see with Colorado and how they're handling the Nebraska-Colorado game? Because like just
it's out of control.
Completely putting those ticket prices through the roof, almost to the point of admitting that they don't have enough fans to come into those seats, and so they have to upcharge the opponent to try to avoid them from coming and taking over that stadium.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have not. I certainly have not. But I mean, think about it from their point of view. I mean, like you've made this very hyped head coach hire. And I mean, that's going to be their first home game. I mean, that's not going to look great I have zero doubt that stadium is going to be very red. So it's not going to look good anyways, but I get it from their point of view that, you're trying to do everything you can because they're kind of in a tough spot from a perception point of view. But yeah, I mean, the ticket prices are outrageous. I knew 5 or 6 people that were in the queue for that, and then they got to the front of the line. It was time to buy, and they're like, "Nope, not doing that." So
were they seeing the 3 or the 400?
The cheapest seat is $400.
At one
Yeah,
point yesterday, you could have got 315.
Oh, thank goodness.
Wow.
Nobody can
I'll
do
take
that.
4.
I'll take it.
But yeah, I mean that's it's crazy, and I'm curious to see what the secondary market's going to look like, because I know a lot of people that are hoping that that Colorado just gets beat down that first week and maybe the secondary market turns in their favor, but I don't anticipate that's going to happen. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I can't think of anybody, rivalry or not, that's ever gone to that, raise prices to that degree.
It's interesting. That's just not a place, and maybe it's because my experience as a player were so bad. And remember, that was a heated stretch, so maybe it's intensified in my head. That's just not a place where I would feel comfortable going and trying to and not have my tickets in hand.
Oh no, I think.
Do you know what I mean?
Have something. Yeah, no, you. I don't think that's a place where you probably want to go and just buy it off.
Get your nearest scalper, right? I just would not feel comfortable because there is vitriol.
Here's my lasting memory from the 2019 game out there. So we're on the field, and all the fans are running onto the field after they came back and beat Nebraska and whatever. And this dad and his son, and the kid was probably 7 or 8. Where the main Nebraska section is, kind of down by the visitor ramp. The dad and the kid go walking over to about the sideline right in front of that section, and the dad and the kid are just standing there facing the Nebraska section, just double bird, both of them.
How old was the kid?
He was 7 or 8, just tiny little.
A little Will Bull out there just grabbing bats out of the dugout, right?
Yeah. But I was just dying laughing. But I was like, this all makes sense. This is how it should be. So there's a lot of hate there.
This is a 7-year-old double birdie.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
Oh, Bruntz, we appreciate you, man.
Rare form today, Bruntz. Well done.
All right, buddy. We'll talk again next week. That's your senior writer for Husker 24/7 at Micheal Bruntz on Twitter.
I told you, he's hilarious.
Oh, full of smiles, full of laughter in that 9 o'clock segment. When we come back, we'll finish up the sports six-pack. And also, I want to throw out one more number that I came across regarding this ticket price thing at Colorado. And I bet you're going to be like, yeah, this is ridiculous. We'll be back.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 5 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio. Time now for the Sports Six-Pack on Coffee and Cream with Andrew Rogers and Damon Benning. Presented by Zipline Brewing Company, makers of Dear Old Nebraska Brew, the official beer of Nebraska alumni.
Now you may be thinking, haven't I heard that intro already today? Well, yep, you have. And that's because we could not fit all 6 questions into the OG six-pack, so we are having an extended version. We just took a break, ate some food. Now we're drinking more beer to end the night. Right, DB?
Dude, I haven't really eaten like I should in the last couple of days. I got to get back on it.
You know, yesterday I was in the shower. All deep thoughts happen in the shower, right? And
that and painting with Bob Ross.
And I was standing there and I thought, the only thing of real value that I've eaten today was popcorn at Charles Schwab.
Yeah.
And by the way, when I say of value, that's the only thing I ate yesterday before I made quesadillas when I got out of the shower.
Yeah, it has not been a
popcorn.
I mean, I made the ribs and the smoked mac and cheese. I just haven't been, it's not. I'll get there.
We'll get back on track.
Maybe this weekend I'll make up for it.
Is there food tonight at the OSCAs?
Yeah,
Is that how you pronounce it? Is it Oscars?
Oscars. Omaha Sports
Commission. It sounds like the bar Oscars, but like you're just saying it fancy. Oscars. Going to Oscars.
Like we're from some different part of the country.
I don't know.
Pick your spot. Mumble mouth over there is just mumbling. We should have mic'd him up.
The Mike Sautter. Are you joining us for the extended Sports Six-Pack?
Sure. Yeah. All right. Well, don't.
He said sure. Shane, can you pot him up?
I wish.
Thank
I
you.
Wish, I will be there tonight because I have to
Announce.
present an award, and then we're doing interviews and stuff.
Do you have athlete of the year?
I have athlete of the year,
Male or
athlete,
female?
Male athlete, team of the year. I think is what I have.
Ooh, hey, go Warriors.
Maybe
You don't
Some
know,
good
do you?
teams. I don't know who's going to win. I have no idea.
He's opening up the envelope like, ooh.
Yeah, there's
It's
like
gonna be a
envelopes and
surprise to me
everything.
too, ladies and gents.
I wonder that guy that. I wonder. I bet Sam wins the Sportscaster of the Year, though. Rogers, what do you think?
Sure. He's such a douche. What did he send me last night? Again, another friend that I wouldn't actually say is nice to me.
We're
Nice
we were
honor.
so Avery Howard and I are doing the red carpet, stuff.
Avery was fantastic yesterday,
Avery's
by the way.
amazing at what she does. If those of you that don't know this, but
what did he text me?
I text you. The
No, I'm
notes.
showing him.
I text you a screenshot of the notes, and it says something about.
That's
not
the kind.
Yep, I see it.
That's
Yep.
not a friend.
You should have said never heard of her, not him.
Let me tell you
that would have
something.
been better.
Piling on, or
But if you're going to go all in, you might as well go all in, right?
I didn't even write that.
you're an idiot.
Avery wrote that.
Oh, she's cool.
Oh, because she did it. It's fine.
Yeah, any of us. Oh, you're dead to me.
Sasha or
Oh,
Shane
Avery
would have
did
been
it.
okay.
No,
Not Shane.
The Oscars.
Shane is fine.
The Oscars tonight,
Just
though. If
the
they
ding
if
dong.
they had
Not
Oscars
Shane.
wings, it would be amazing.
Oscars.
I would love
What
that.
will they serve?
I have no idea. You're asking me like I planned the thing. I don't know. I'm showing up because I was. Told
I'm
I
asking
need
you
to.
because you've been there before.
I've never been.
Oh, this your first year?
Uh-huh.
I didn't go last year either.
And I've never been. I've never was invited. I've never been important enough to be nominated for the Sports Person of the Year in the state of Nebraska.
Ooh.
Like someone sitting at this table, not named.
I don't
Andrew.
win anything, so I'm not worried about it. I probably won't even wear a tie. I might wear pajamas.
You're not going to wear a tie. I'm wearing a tie. First
I mean,
time
I'm
I
gonna
put
wear
a tie. You know, the last time I put a tie on,
Schaefer's wedding
2 years ago.
Yep, this dude made an absolute fool of himself, and
No, I
it was
did
the
not.
funniest
Did
thing.
the tie
ever.
end up
I
coming
had
off?
a great time.
This dude held court. If it wasn't for Jack Mitchell, Sautter would have been the funniest dude there, and Connor Happer's wife.
She's great.
So that was probably my top 3 favorite night where I
I
just
had
laughed.
that
my-
nice. I mean, I remember what I was looking good.
He was offended because I said he didn't dress himself.
Yeah.
And I think he wanted to fight me at the
I
table.
mean, he's like,
This
this
dude-
shocked me.
this
Because you
dude-
didn't pick that out.
This
I'm
dude
like,
slammed
boom.
down one of his 34 drinks and wanted to fight me.
Doesn't shock me.
He said,
He will do it sober.
double fist. He's like, what?
picked it out. Picked out my own. I'm going casual dress up tonight.
Yeah.
Even though the tie I picked out, I think I'm gonna look.
If you had a tie, can you call it casual?
Dude, I have probably 35 ties.
I have way too many. I have like 5
Dude, I have,
suits
like, 6
that just
bow
sit
ties.
there.
Oh,
does anyone want
there
some
too.
suits that might fit? Like I will sell them.
Who wears
I have like 6.
40 or who wears 38 longs
38.
and coats?
Actually, me. I did.
I know that's your
38 or
size.
40.
No, I
Yeah,
think I
38
wear
or
40,
40 is the
42.
38 long. Is
Maybe
what
at
this
40
dude's
or I'm at least a 40,
42.
42.
You're not 42. Ain't no
42
damn way.
seems big for you. I'm
42 is
I'm
way
a
too
44
big.
long.
You're way too big. That 42 is too big. There's no-
I thought I was pushing it with 38. Shane,
Depends-
what's
it depends
question
on the
5,
material.
my dude?
Sorry.
Well, I feel like I've been nursing this 4th beer forever here.
Oh,
Question 4.
Question
Shane's
number
wearing 34
5.
shorts.
34 30s.
If you
Those
could,
are his pants.
28.
Sorry. Sorry about that.
No, you're not.
Question number 5.
if you could bring one celebrity back to life to spend the day with, who would it be?
Easy.
I know who I would bring back.
Go ahead.
One celebrity?
Like sports celebrity or
Anybody, any celebrity. Go ahead.
Wow,
my first
you're
initial
putting
thought,
him in this?
I said he could play.
my initial thought was
It is your show.
my
my
initial
bad.
thought was
Nah, no, it's not.
Jackie Robinson.
Really?
That was my
Mine's-
first initial.
Mine's
thing.
kind of along that line.
That's a good one.
I'm taking Malcolm X.
Or that, yeah. Like I went straight to sports. but
I take Malcolm
I
X.
was
that
gonna
would be.
I was gonna say Kobe.
It's interesting.
That is.
We'd have to skip a couple years of his life. For me,
Yeah, but like
the middle part of the one.
But like
Colorado
I
part.
didn't used to like Kobe.
He was on pace. Well, after his career, he was very, very involved in the community.
No, I know.
So
Kobe's
just
one of those guys that
I'd
like
love to know his
surpassed
story.
Tiger Woods and his image turnaround. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just love his work ethic.
Malcolm X is really good.
Born Malcolm Little, right
That
down
would
the
be
street.
great, actually. That'd be awesome.
Plus, I know a lot that I've read and reported on, so I would ask him fact versus fiction. Maybe Denzel.
I think Roy Halladay would be cool too.
Although Roy is
Denzel's still alive.
Although
by the way.
Denzel, yeah, I was just getting ready to see.
Tina Turner died yesterday.
Did you know? Did I see 93?
She's 93.
She was
No
87.
way. 87?
93.
Oh, like 87 is that far off?
No, you're just thinking of Bryce Matthews on base.
Yeah, that is a big number. She doesn't seem 87.
No.
I
just
wouldn't-
you
I wouldn't
only
know.
have that picture of her with the hair.
And she's
the
all
pretty
yoked up
face.
like she was muscular.
Yeah.
Mick Jagger had a nice little tweet.
Yeah. You know who one guy,
Got the
and this
moves
is
like
just
Jagger.
because I would love to.
I thought
Not
you were
the-
going to say Wilt Shane would say Wilt Chamberlain because he's jealous.
Not the kid part.
That he
not-
could
not
play
the, like-
basketball.
Yes. Shane can't get one under his belt.
Not the kid part, but Michael Jackson.
Three-pointer.
Just because of the like. just
Pardon?
the eclectic, like the childhood growing up, like the.
So what would you guys do? Go have a milk?
Not that I've said not that part. I just I would be interested.
Skimmer.
No, like what would you like? You couldn't go. Like what would you?
It'd
You
be
wouldn't- you couldn't even go have a meal.
It'd be interesting to see. He's the greatest performer of all time, no question.
What do you think you guys would have to eat? Like where
I don't
would
know.
you go?
I don't know. Chuck E. Cheese probably would.
Kale and a glass of club soda?
So I said Jackie Robinson.
Well, you
That's my
guys,
first answer.
I don't know what his palate was, but I know you have the palate of a 4-year-old. So
12, maybe 4. I had some Cheetos yesterday for lunch.
You're up
For
child.
lunch?
Shane?
Last question, Shane. Come on.
I would go with Andre the Giant because I'd send him out.
Oh.
I would send him out to keep you guys in line.
I thought you may say Ric Flair, but he's alive too.
Question number 6.
Would you rather?
Macho Man.
Would you rather? That'd be good. Would you rather live the life of Steve Bartman for 10 years after the incident, or listen to Stephen A. Smith ranting for 8 hours straight every day for the year?
1,000% Bartman. Not even a debate.
I'm a Cubs fan, and there is no damn way I'd want to be Steve Bartman.
That's what I'm thinking.
No way.
Most
No way.
hated man
Ever.
up until the World Series win.
It's
10
okay.
years.
Dude,
I
I could hide out in my house, which
I will
is
also
ideal.
say this.
Not okay with
Stephen
me.
A.
Not good for me.
I'm reading Stephen A.'s memoir, like that's the book I'm on right now, and his story is pretty dang good.
I mean, I don't want to hear him rant for 8 hours
I don't
a day.
either, but I will just
But
say
I'll
his
take
story-
8 hours. He said 8 hours
Yeah,
a day
that's a lot.
every day.
every day for a year.
I'm not a fan of Stephen A., but his book is.
I'll do that inside for a year, and then I'll go outside and hit myself with a baseball bat because I just did that for a year.
Not a chance.
Thanks, Shane.
I guess your regular segment is coming up next, since we won't get you tomorrow.
Yeah.
This ought to be swell. Twice in 1 week. Awesome.
Woo!
Feeling good today.
Coffee and a spritzer.
We'll be back.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
Oh, yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Mike Sautter.
I would agree, Damon.
Mike Sautter.
Yeah.
Mike Sautter.
Oh, man, you're going to put me on the spot.
Mike Sautter.
Yep, that's him. Mike Sautter here with us for one more segment as we wind this thing down on a Thursday. Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency. Here's the one thing I wanted to touch on tickets before we really get into Mike Sautter here at DB. So it says Colorado. His name is Connor Hayden at @corncrazed_ on Twitter. Colorado officially raised the ticket prices too high for their own fans. One ticket to a game between two teams who didn't make a bowl game last year is $730 face value. I called the ticket office and they told me this same seat went for what price last season? Mike Sautter.
I already saw this.
Oh, well, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. 65.
65 is the answer. So Mike Sautter is wrong.
Let's go! I just said something different because he was being a jerk.
Yeah, I saw that already.
Dude, why are you so?
Hey,
just because you're still mad I beat you last week.
Just because you saw it doesn't mean other people didn't see it.
This dude is out of control. Listen, you know the word. So, do you know the perfect word for you? Seriously, you're incorrigible.
I don't know. Whoa, hold on.
I want you to.
I'm not smart. Clearly,
INCORR. Start incorrigible. Like that is you.
Ding. I don't know.
Incorrigible. A person.
I think it's
not able to be corrected, improved, or reformed.
Dude, seriously, like you have.
Why is that word in your repertoire?
Of a person or their tendencies, not able to be corrected, improved, or reformed. I like that. That's good.
Dude, that is totally
spot on.
You
spot on.
Like
I saw it already.
Hey, so
appreciate it.
Speaking of equal opportunity offenders,
oh whoa,
how about Michigan Lance just laying in the cut? He texts me and he said, "Majority of black people have a story, Mike. Stephen A. ain't that special."
I'm just saying his book is pretty good. I bought his book for some reason. And I'm reading his book, and it's a pretty good book so far.
Oh,
it's an interesting story.
Were you going to say neat? Oh, that's so neat.
No,
that's pretty neat.
I was going to cuss and I caught myself.
Dude, you can do anything once.
No.
Plus, Bill likes you.
Shane,
not near as much as Andrew, but
Shane,
Bill likes you.
What are you doing?
It's for Jacob.
Oh,
he's just prepping for the show to be over.
Do you think Bill likes Sautter more than he likes you?
You're like his kid.
That doesn't mean he likes me more.
You like bought his house and stuff.
Yeah, but see, if he liked me more, maybe he was like, you can just have it.
So while we have you and you are being incorrigible,
I like that word. I'm going to use that.
Dude.
Next time my wife yells at me, I'm
Just put that in your.
I'm incorrigible.
Just
I
put
can't
that.
help.
Put it in your Twitter bio.
but
Incorrigible.
that is you though, like to a T.
I'm going to tell her, I'm like, I don't know what this means, but I'm incorrigible. So leave me alone. Thank you.
Incorrigible.
Hey, so
no, not courage.
How about back-to-back years for a Nebraska quarterback making the Elite 11 final?
Yeah, Zane Flores made it last year.
Were you going to put that in parentheses? FLOORS.
No, that's how you pronounce it.
No, I know.
I was corrected like 4 years later, and it still annoys me.
That's okay.
That's all right. At least I got it right. But he is. It's great. But Zane making it, I for some reason I feel like we didn't make as big of a deal about it last year when Zane was the first person from Nebraska.
So I asked Mitch about that, and he's like, he told me to get over it. He's like, look, man, DK is a Nebraska commit, so it's just naturally going to garner more. And listen, I was objective. I was like, hey, man, I'm for all kids. So I feel like he was slighted last year, but he's like, he basically said, get off your soapbox.
People still don't think he's good.
Pardon?
There's people out there that don't think that Zane.
All right, let's not get into that. Let's get
Move on.
Let's get into DK in the Elite 11 finals.
Yeah, it's great. It is actually great. Warren Academy guys too, which is interesting that they both are Warren Academy people.
Yeah,
So
shout out
they're doing
John,
something right over there.
Shout out
Yeah,
John
T.
Teague Leland. I saw Big Woo last night. Steve Warren,
and not
Yeah,
Kevin
Texan.
Warren.
he had Braylon with him.
Yeah, he's going to West Side, right?
Correct.
Really?
Correct.
Won the quarterback sweepstakes.
Oh Lord.
I'm just saying. You guys recruit everybody, I guess. That's what everyone tells me.
Yeah. I keep hearing that, man.
I don't know.
I keep, but here's the thing. There's like a couple of other schools in town that have all this Division I talent.
Everyone does.
Put the pressure on them.
Hey, I'm gonna say something.
They have more D1 guys than we do every year.
I'm gonna say something real quick, and I don't know if you're talking about Bellevue West or not.
Well, who else would I be talking about?
But week 3, here's something to keep an eye on for.
Lord.
For this game, here's a little nugget.
Do you realize we open up with prep?
A little chicken nugget.
Yeah, I know. Hey, I know. I've been there the last 2, 3, 4 years, maybe in a row for the prep West Side game. It hasn't gone well for prep.
Yeah, but we haven't really played
I've
well
lost
yet either.
bets.
Good
to
for
people.
Good for you, Jerome. You should. I want you to lose a lot.
Okay, so, oh man, that's exactly what it is too. But did you know Bellevue West played 11 linemen last year? You know how many they returned? 9.
Oh, good for them.
Oh yeah, I knew
offensive
that.
linemen. No, that's a nice little nugget to know because everyone always talks about everyone's saying, oh, this skill and this guy, quarterbacks and wide receivers and corners and all this stuff. How do you win the game?
No, I understand that.
If you can't protect them, you can't do jack.
Sound like their head coach.
Who you can't protect them, you can't do jack.
Who at the small school recruiting deal at Champions Club goes, hey, we're just shooting the breeze. And he's like, hey, man, can't wait to play you guys, man. I was like, oh.
It's like
cool.
your best friend. You've known him for like 35 years.
I was like, oh, that's cool. He's like, yeah, man, I think we're going to be a lot better up front.
I think they are.
Okay. How about like, hello? I haven't talked to you in a couple weeks.
No,
like,
we're jumping straight to biz.
Neighbors.
No, I know.
Neighbors.
But that's the first thing he said to me.
Hung out every day.
So I'm gonna put that in my pipe and I'm gonna smoke it for the next.
I'm just saying
4 months.
All I'm saying is that it's like that's a thing, right?
Well,
like,
you know what I think you should do?
Jacob Barope is
going
to be pretty good. I think eventually.
Whatever. Like
eventually.
You know what I think you should
said
do?
that last year when I first saw him play. Remember who's the first person that saw him at offensive tackle outside of their staff? Me.
Oh my God. Hey, keep that same energy. All I'm saying is
I'm not saying that John Quell also can't run by him and put him on his ass. I'm not saying that.
Keep that same energy.
I never said any. I'm not predicting a winner. I don't do that.
Listen. Shane.
Listen,
Linda. I'm not saying you're predicting anything. I'm not upset. All I said was
I'm just excited.
Keep that same energy, because what happens is we build all these things up because it's good for the product. Then it doesn't come to fruition how people want, and we make excuses galore.
Well, everything.
So what we know for sure is Bellevue West has 9 of the 11 offensive linemen back. They got really good skill. They got a Division I quarterback with multiple offers already.
So does Westside have a Division I quarterback?
Keep that. Well, I wouldn't know because he doesn't have any offers.
He's gonna.
So keep
this minimum FCS.
Just keep that same
Elkhorn
energy.
South has a Division I quarterback.
Is that Carson?
Yeah,
Carson Rauner. I wrote about him last night.
So if Carson
actually yesterday and posted last night, but yeah,
Carson's up there on the list.
Weird thing. I mean, hey, not weird, but Missouri.
This dude just came on the show to do Bellevue West Hour.
Missouri just it's West Side Hour every day over here. Every single day. It's West Side Hour for like 3-4 hours. How long is the show? 3?
Not true.
2.5.
I can't even get recruiting guys to bring up West Side unsolicited. We fast forwarded to Christian Jones, and he's not in our top 3 defensive performers from a year ago.
I know. I heard that. I was like,
So it's like
I'm just ready for.
I mean, I coached those guys. I gotta know, right?
I will be AU basketball in LA tomorrow morning. That's
So
why I can't be
are
on
you
tomorrow.
going to be at 4? Because Caleb has to be at 4:30.
Yeah, I'm on the same flight. I didn't do that on purpose. I booked my own, but so yes, that 4 a.m. wake up call thing, and then get back Tuesday, and then Wednesday, like boom, right into camp stuff. So like football camp, I love, you know me, I love going till like 7 a.m. whatever for 2 hours. Dudes just sweat grinding, and I love that.
And you don't have to take your kids to school.
Yeah, well, my kid might be going. My kid might be going to work with me. Is the one kid?
Which one?
Leighton, the oldest.
Going to LA?
No, like
what's Lily gonna do?
She's daycare.
Oh, I'm with
Lane's too old.
Just on average.
Yeah.
She's a G.
Like
She
every
can
day.
handle it.
She's like, I like football, and I'm like, well, you're about to like it more. So anyway, so you have the locker room camp is next week, which is that's really falling off, by the way. But it gives me a chance to see like North and Central and stuff. My plan is to be at North on Thursday the 1st, and then my plan is on Wednesday to be somewhere else, different place. I'm not going to say it because you're going to be like, oh, you're going to come to ours. And then Friday,
I would never say.
Here we go.
My plan is to be at Bellevue West on Wednesday.
Here's my thing. I hope we don't see any of you people.
I'm gonna show up.
I hope
showing up.
you know my personality. We thought about just building walls.
Okay.
But we're not going to.
And then
because
passing
my
league
coach
starts.
is a lot more mature than
And
me.
then passing league starts the 7th, 14th, 21st, 28th, and then our 7-on-7 tournament in Nebraska. I'm looking at my calendar. The Bryan Shootout is Saturday and Sunday. You have the Millard North Hoop Fest on Friday. Then you go into Creighton's team camp for basketball and Nebraska football camps and the Grand Island deal that I go out to for their jamboree, one-day deal. Lincoln's locker room camp is the 13th. So I'll be
so you're not doing anything over the next 2 weeks.
You see how they're quietly Lincoln's getting on board.
Yeah, no.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah, they have to. So I there's a lot. June's just a busy month for me. I love it. I really do. So I'm excited to kind of get out.
I hope to see very little until the 7-on-7
tournament
event you're putting
on the 22nd, 23rd. I'm going to go to probably the 6th or the 5th. I'll be at Westside. Let me text Coach Lamanji.
Thanks, Sautter. We'll be back tomorrow.
Incorrigible.